chicken out.
It gets a little, yeah.
It gets a bit iffy. So, I mean, we'll work our way down from me. I think we're going to be seeing Gambit take this one. I believe we get that juicy Inferno, gets like 16-14 Immortals, just get over the line, and then we get an awesome cobblestone, like quadruple mega overtime. Gambit win. That's my call.
Yeah. One of the best pressure players. Like, obviously, you can see that by how well he's in clutches.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that'll affect them or not here. I mean, this isn't one of the biggest events of the year, but
for them,
they are in the finals. Yeah,
exactly.
This might be a big thing for them to win this, and they might really, that pressure might, have them crumble. So I'm gonna go 2-0 Gambit.
2-0.
Okay.
Wow, not a single for the Immortals. They've looked so good so far. Of course, they have already got a lot of their wins on Inferno. It does crop up again in the grand finals. We'll see if they can complete that streak when we get to it. But our first map will be Gambit's choice, and it will be Train. Now, your caster's choice is yet to be determined. It's, of course, Blue and Daze to be the voices filling the Austin Convention Center in this grand final. Gentlemen, I like the synced shirts. I like it a lot. That's some synergy. Respect it.
Just realized it, yeah. They were like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
I think we got the same shoes on, too.
Oh,
nice.
Can we see them? Can we whip them out?
No, well, I mean, I know for a fact that Daze is not flexible enough to get his leg on that desk.
I want a crep check. I wanted a crep check. I'm furious. Okay, fine. We won't look at your shoes, but we will look at your predictions, gents. Not a single for Immortals so far.
I'm actually a believer in Immortals. I think it'll go 3 maps, and I think they'll end up taking it on Cobble.
The crowd likes that.
Yeah, I do think Gambit's going to win on Train, even though their T-side was really shaky against G2. They won the pistol. They only ended up with 5 rounds, and I didn't really like the way they tried to win it. But I don't think Immortals is like the best Train team. And sometimes he gets traded, yeah, but he's just a pillar of consistency over there for Immortals.
Now we saw the analysts discuss the entire set, of course, with our predictions. But we didn't get too much into how we're feeling for this map. Do we feel that this one's going to swing more towards Gambit or more towards an Immortals-centric one?
So I think this is definitely Gambit-sided on Train, and this is their map pick. Immortals, I don't think is the best Train team, but I definitely think they could win this map. I just think they're, Gambit is trade kills and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again here, guys, we are just waiting for those players to get readied up, and then we should be good to jump into that map. So just waiting on them is what is delaying us at this point. All 3 maps to be played out here, and of course, $100,000 on the line, as per usual here at the DreamHack ASTRO Open. So there's going to be a lot of money on the line. And for Gambit, it would be a second DreamHack title as well, if memory serves me correctly. The last one they won being back over at Winter towards the end of last year.
Yeah, and when we look at, Train, right? So this is kind of how I feel about it. Train, I think Gambit's favorites, maybe 8 out of 10 times they'll beat Immortals. But Inferno, I really like the way Immortals plays Inferno. I think they're going to be tough to beat, and I think they're going to take that map. And then going to Cobble, I think it's going to be more 50-50. So I just slightly lean Immortals. I just think their players have improved so much, like I said, and now that they have FNX, who's just insane. I mean, let's be real.
Absolutely.
Just so much firepower and so much big play potential on their team. Like, Henny is one of the best operators in the world when it comes to like him and Kenny S. I feel like have the most big play potential, where they're just in a ridiculous spot and they just end up with like these crazy 4Ks just out of nowhere. And then same with Lucas, like especially with Deagles, his Deagle is just incredible. A lot of big play potential there, and of course FNX.
Yeah, and you talk about how much improved Lucas had been. He had been a very sort of hit or miss player. When you look towards the end of last year around there, he was kind of showing up in some matches, but not necessarily being present in others. But as of this recent run of the league season and whatnot, we've seen a lot of improvements for him, and he's turned into one of the more consistent players for this team.
Yeah, and he's really consistent, and he's in the toughest roles in my opinion for Immortals. I think the spots he plays on CT side and a lot of his roles on T side are some of the most difficult.
We'll take the edge here.
Yeah, FNX with a nice 3K. I think Gambit got that round a little bit closer than I thought it was. That player coming through the 5-6 smoke, he goes straight through the smoke. The flashbang actually missed at I think it was camera, and Adren able to get a kill despite that. But Immortal's going to take the pistol round. We're going to see not even really a force buy by Gambit, just going to try to get the bomb down to inner, probably flood out lower and upper together and just try to force that plant.
Yeah, they've got that big group going together, so definitely the inner flood more than likely. Bolts is going to be close to the challenge that right from the get-go, however, with the UMP. And he's probably going to have Lucas coming to assist him as well. Bolts with the nade in hand, ready to deploy this at a moment's notice here, but peeking into it, does miss the initial peek, and the nade's not really going to do a whole lot. Still, though, spotting that big push of players, and essentially everyone from Immortals in a moment here is probably going to start that rotate back in. With smokes being deployed out, the molly will counteract that. FNX not biting on the full rotate inside just yet, but more smokes get in the way here now, and Gambit obviously don't really have the utility to be able to push past this now. They'll move their way out, and it's just going to be utter destruction by the Immortals. Quick 5 kills for them, and not even getting close to a trade.
I actually really like that from Gambit, though. I mean, they kind of forced it through the smoke, and Immortals had 2 players there. But if you think about it, if they get the bomb down there, they buy 3rd round, right? As we are going to have a pause come out. But they're going to buy 3rd round, right? So they save, and you usually can get the bomb down inner, and they think that you're probably Tech 9 armor, right? So they're probably not going to push up lower ramp or anything like that. Why would you want to take a close range gun battle, right? So you're going to spot, and you're going to play for, you know, a lot of the time even M4 and play retake against Tech 9s. So you could, you know, just get a smoke and a flash and try to flood and get bomb down, just get that 1 kill, get bomb down, and then still buy the 3rd round, because most likely the CTs aren't going to be playing super aggressive.
Just a quick pause, though, folks. So we're already back into the game here now, and Gambit is going to be having themselves that buy here into the 3rd round. It's an interesting one, too. Doja getting himself the AK, but everybody else either getting just P250s or Tech 9 armor purchases here. So we'll see what Doja is going to be able to do with that heavier purchase. The rest of the team kind of lagging behind a little bit there, and still very little utility. So I'm curious as to what the overall plan is going to be. And at the moment, looks very similar to what we did see back in the 2nd round. Everybody just deploying very early over here to the ramp, and grouping up in these back B halls for a potential deployment outside.
Yeah, and you're going to see Bolts do that almost every round. Just spot at the lower ramp. If you see someone, you can toss a molly or whatever.
It looks like now, after ramp didn't really work out for them due to the amount of smokes they had to go up against, they are going to try to swing back out from upper. Lucas able to spot that first player and causes a trend to kill himself. But Doja responding in kind, taking out Lucas and just picking these players off from range. He's almost eliminated FNX as well. Unfortunately, more players from Immortals still sit within the bomb site. This is going to be Bolts hanging out and now securing the bomb, but he misses behind him. However, the shots aren't hitting quickly enough. Steel is going to be able to bail out his teammate, but only for a short period of time. And Doja continues to wreak havoc now, pushing forward. He's knocked out Henny, brought this down to a 2v2. Steel still present, however, close to the bomb train, and Mo being cornered himself out. He tries to swing in looking for that kill on Steel, but he's not going to find it. And Immortals will pick up another round here.
Yeah, and their strat was basically, you know, I know this guy's going to be jiggle peeking the lower ramp. Let's see if we can get that kill on him. Doja does a great job at upper, just doing a ton of damage, getting those 2 kills, getting pushed up, and at least getting the bomb down. And it was a strange, like, economical buy for Gambit, so they're still going to be able to buy this round. They definitely didn't spend all their money or anything like that. Just a couple pistol armors, the AK armor on Doja, just try to hurt their economy a bit. And they basically get a full buy here.
Yeah, they're still going to be able to go into it. Doja, obviously, because he purchases the AK last round, doesn't get himself utility for this round, but still having enough definitely to make, you know, your usual type of execution or whether they may be a little bit light in post plant here. But Immortals using a whole lot right at the beginning of the round. Lucas and FNX both just emptying themselves out here. So most of the utility going to come from the other 3 players in the roster now due to that. Gambit early on, though, pretty much the same style of lineup as we send a lot of their players back, but Hobbit just makes a move right at the beginning here and is able to find Bolts out early this time.
Yeah, and that's something that Gambit has picked up on, that Bolts does that every single round. And, you know, that time Bolt's getting punished. So we'll see what he does now. That's a really powerful tool to take away from the CTs.
It's Doja that's going to move in again, looking for the first entry out of upper here. But also, ramp pressure is going to move out at the same time. FNX is able to catch Doja after he jumps down from the ladder. 2 more trades, though, and that's Gambit taking flooded control of this of the B bomb site here. We're not even really going to be able to see the Immortals players rotate back in. A smoke comes back out, but Mo just hits the last 2 shots back to back. And there you go. Gambit now claim the first gun round.
Yeah, and Steel, we're probably going to see him drop a gun, for Immortals, but they don't have the best buy here. You know, they're going to have an AWP, 2 M4s, a couple up, or maybe an UMP and a pistol. And I don't know, that was a really interesting economical strategy from Gambit, where you kind of lightly buy in the 3rd round, you full save in the 2nd round to try to get the bomb down, and then you still buy in the 4th round, even if you lose that 3rd round.
It seemed to work out pretty well for them, though, because they do that decent damage
really
in that round as well, and now look at Immortals as buy here. Like, they still get, rifles and UMPs for the most part, but now utility, after they use what they already have, is going to be pretty light, and they'll be on the brink of being broken more than likely because of this round. Henny, nice shot, of course, and jumping out over into the short lane, but Doja still hits the shot a little bit better and is going to be able to take him out, putting that down to a 5v4 early on. Now the rest of Gambit kind of spreading back out, but also moving in very quickly towards inner here. Bolts playing that close contact this time. Great trade from Mo, and 2 more kills are also found back-to-back with Doja knocking out Steel and FNX finding another pickup. That brings us down to a 3v2 situation. Hobbit having a very advanced spot, which is going to make Z rotating very difficult to do for this reason, as you're going to see right here. Hobbit gets the easy lineup against Lucas. And now FNX alone probably not even going to attempt the retake, falling back to save now as his team's money is down in the dumps.
Yeah, so he's probably going to get the op right here from Henny at Hell. And yeah, Gambit's buying strategy really worked out because like you said, I mean, that buy was, nothing great from Immortals. And the reason that buy wasn't great because of that third round, Doja AK buy where they also got the bomb down and ended up getting 3 kills.
Gambit's players are moving across the map to actually hunt down FNX, despite what is probably their own low utility here. FNX, though, is sitting in a good position, and I don't even think it's going to be physically possible for them to get close enough to hunt him down, so he'll escape the round without even risk of losing out there. But Gambit carrying through, winning out that round will obviously have the op for FNX, but that's going to be pretty much it now. The rest of Immortals are going to be completely broken and on a full save here.
Yeah, and if I'm Immortals here, I probably just try to stack around the op and just try to save it no matter what, because then you could still buy the next round and have a good round with Henny backing you up with that op. FNX is going to keep it this round, though. So we'll see if he can make it 4v5 and make this a manageable situations for Immortals. But if he doesn't find impact early, getting an early pick, it's going to be pretty tough for them to win this round.
FNX is going to find himself in an aggressive but relatively good position to impact early on. The flashbang does mess him up, though, and he's forced to fall back again, though, trying to test his luck with these shots. And he almost seemed like he hit that one, but not going to line up just as of yet. And for Gambit now flooding into the site, taking control. Some of these CTs are trying to put forward. You can see Lucas in the midst of this one, but just not able to get anything done. And now the op has gone down at the hands of Mo. Lucas does sneak in 1 kill, but it's very quickly traded back out by Zeus. And Steel just gets denied on the last kill by Mo. Nicely played. Gambit now tying this game up at 3-3.
And the game plan from Gambit so far is very impressive. I mean, they know they're going up against an op. At best, around the op, they're just going to have pistol armor. So what do? They take the op completely out of the equation. They do a nice smoke wall. They're going to guarantee the plant pretty much. And as long as they don't die to those pistols, they're probably going to just put that op in a terrible situation. So they're just strategically speaking, Gambit playing very smart Counter-Strike right now.
Splitting up again, relatively straightforward split from these guys. As Gambit is going to pressure over towards Ivy early on, and they're going to have a lot of those guys back in the White Halls in the first couple of seconds of the round. But much more active defense being put up this time by the Immortals, but it doesn't seem to matter too much as Mo continuously keeps hitting these shots early on in the round. This time it's against Bolts, knocking him out early, once again back over by that ramp.
Yeah, and that time Bolt's getting aggressive. I believe he threw the smoke out lower, and they felt like they needed to do something to give them an advantage this round. I mean, they just all have M4s. There's no op. There's not much utility on them. So he's trying to make it 4v5 so that they can just play standard after that.
Well, now we do have Gambit trying to go for another inner take here. Everybody's stacking up for it. Doja a little bit farther behind, but it's only one to defend in here. It's Lucas, and he's very far back, too, having to try and take some of these duels. That's some great damage, though, bringing a Dren down to 27 and Hobbit to 16 as well. Really priming these players to allow for a bit of an easier retake. Finally meets his match, however, against Zeus without being able to pick up any kill. Here's the thing, though. You can see it. Henny lurking back in is going to line this up. He almost loses that, though, as his aim is not right on the head initially here. Now Zeus continues to trade those kills back, and although Henny is this position, he's not going to be able to act upon it. It's still way too risky now. FNX just can't really get into a good position either, so they're going to fall back and save once more.
Yeah, and I don't think they really had a chance that round anyways. They didn't have a kit. Mo's going to be opping Pop Dog or lower ramp, so your entire rotate can't even really come from Z, right? You have to go towards CT spawn since he's just locking that down, and it just takes so long at that point, right? Unless Lucas gets 2 there on the cross, which again, I mean, your AK versus M4 long range, you're probably going to get traded if you fight too long. Just not much of a chance for Immortals to win that round.
Yeah, and after the loss of those players, it does leave them into another sort of scrap buy here. Not going to be too bad, though, however. able to get a decent amount of rifles and UMPs overall, along with utility here. So managing to make it work off of those saves. What's going to be the real danger point here is letting this continue for too many more rounds, as we already have Gambit stacking up a very aggressive economy with players over 10k in post-buy. When you look at guys like Mo at this point, who has been really consistent with hitting his shots, and not only that, but surviving through the rounds as well to build up that money even more so.
Yeah, that time Bolts really actually countered exactly what got him killed last time. He timed it perfectly with that nade, puts a Dren and Doja down a bit.
And now we're going to see them go for the entries over here in upper. Lucas able to hold off for one. Unfortunately, they lose Bolts further back. Lucas tries to adjust to watch out for ramp pressure, but fails in the first duel there. Zeus going to take him out, and now we wait for the rotates to roll in from the Immortals to try and retake this back. They're not really going to have great positioning to make this happen again. Mo's got the advanced position up on top of Popdog, watching out for Z push. He does destack from this because Steel got past him, and is now going to slowly be pushing over here for upper control, but there's a smoke in the way. He's not able to immediately spot the T presence at upper. Just going to have to try and toss an 8 in, see if he can find any damage with that, and he doesn't even get a significant amount. What's even worse now is Hobbit striking goes down, but thankfully, Gambit are still here, and both Adrian and Mo going to be able to trade both of those kills back. It's just Steel now, and once again, no choice but to fall back and save and let Gambit pick up a 5th.
Yeah, the Morals got, they really got hurt because they don't have that op, and Gambit knows that. So what do? They take advantage of it, and they go out upper inner, pretty much dry, while they go out lower at the same time. Obviously, if there's an op playing rotate and Henny's there, and he's either Z or back lanes posted on upper, that's just free kills for him. But the lack of an op, the lack of that op presence, Gambit realizes that. They know what the economic situation is like, and they take advantage of it really well just from a strategic standpoint.
Timeout is going to be called here now by the Immortals, losing out pretty much straightforward ever since we saw them pick up the pistol round in the first few after that. They've yet to actually pick up a gun round here so far. So we are going to be putting them into a situation where, in theory, they could once more buy here. About 3,500 for most of their players. They could try to make something out of this, and Gambit continues to build up, however, and they're sitting on a nice amount of money to work with. 5.4k at its lowest, 13,000 at its highest across the scoreboard for those players. So this is even really going to be worth it to go for it in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm them, I might just get a couple pistol half armors probably, let Henny save up for an op, give yourself a chance to win this round, but then also definitely buy the next round. Because I'm telling you, the lack of op presence right now from Immortals is really hurting them. Gambit taking advantage of it. I just really like the way Gambit's played this T side, though. This is not something you see very often. With how they purchase, trying to get the bomb down second round, and then buying up just a little bit on third round, hurting their economy enough so that when you win that fourth round, all of a sudden, after winning the third round, when you win that fourth round, you put them on a very low buy. This is like really interesting stuff from Gambit, and I mean, it's working great right now.
In most situations, if you just go around the normal buying pattern that we're used to in the meta, that fifth round there they have to deal with the CTs having the advantage is going to be like another fully bought gun round, especially if they crush the anti-ecos. But in this case, it was a few umps for in the buy there, and really low utility for basically every player. So it was really
Lucas
drastic.
Was down to a deke.
It was a really good setup from Gambit, and that the plan that they had there to bring the AK into the fray, and it worked flawlessly for them. So now we are going to see Gambit back into the buy this time, and Immortals just basically half buying here for a lot of their players. Doja already striking first off with a kill into FNX. A few of them with the rifle in hand. Steel, this is the only one actually I should say with a rifle in hand. Gonna be playing close up a T-Con, tries to push in, and while one did have a nade out, Adrian was ready with the AK in hand, so he's able to respond to it. Mo and Adrian picking up those 2 more kills. It's just gonna be bolts now, and it should be an easy 6th round for Gambit.
Yeah, and their money is just absurd right now. We're going to have almost their entire team hovering around that 8 to 10K mark. So Gambit is in no, real danger of being in like any type of a save round anytime soon. I mean, Mo right now is basically maxed out.
Yeah.
So if I'm Immortals right now, what I say is, if I'm Bolts, I say, look, just post up on lower ramp, Henny. They're challenging me every time. They know what I'm doing. We could punish this. If you just stay there. I need you to op that guy when he peeks me to kind of, make it so I can start jiggle peeking that again and get that information.
Well, into this next gun round we will go with the op in hand this time. And he is going to be trying to challenge for upper a little bit. Pushes all the way in, actually, and takes massive damage from it. Down to 29 HP. Doesn't even spot anything either. Ooh, and FNX trying to make an aggressive move inside of the ladder room. Punished out by Hobbit. It's basically two huge early advantages going by the way of Gambit here. Doja is going to be caught out by Steel, though, as he also tries to make a move, and this time it pans out. The problem is no pressure at Ivy, so Adrian was allowed to push all the way up the short lane for free, but thankfully Boltz is there, ready to defend it. He picks up that kill onto Adrian, and Mo trying to bring it back around also falters, this time against Lucas going down. Only 2 remaining here for Gambit now. The only advantage that they do have is the timer. A minute remaining on the clock, but they can't even now rotate over towards B with Hoppe getting free control of it. The bomb is kind of stuck over in the A bomb site. Trying to go back to T-Con, he'd run directly into Steel. Trying to go through Z obviously is not really an option. He could attempt to swing through the back line over here where Henny's hanging out, but even that's not going to be safe. And I think that's what Hobbit's trying to do now, is sort of clear that out, so maybe they can send the bomb in that direction. And Henny will indeed go down to Hobbit. This will open up the possibility for Zeus to push forward, but he still has to battle against Boltz. Can't get it done. Boltz even takes the duel versus that last player, and finally puts a gun round on the board for the Immortals.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool by Steel. One of the plays I want to point out is what he did is they threw the smoke at the end of Ivy so that they could creep up. And a lot of the time when you see that smoke, you smoke in the middle of Ivy by the server, but by the time you push through their smoke, the person could be past your smoke and then kill you. So he smokes very close to the smoke that they threw at the end, and then he was able to kill Doja while he pushes through his smoke.
Catches there's like a little bit of a gap in the middle of it, essentially, and he's able to use that for it very well. Now look at the Immortals swinging right in here. Lucas and Steel destroy both Mo and Hobbit, and what's even better is that they get the bomb onto the ground because of this one, so they have no choice but to try and battle back for this. The good news for Gambit is that it's not actually going to be challenged. They'll let them get the bomb back in hand, as Adrian's going to be able to walk into it for free, but Immortals gaining yet another advantage back over by Ivy, as we see an additional kill picked up, leaving just Adrian and Zeus alive to somehow try and clutch this out 2v5. Swift turnaround for Immortals after this pause, as they are looking in control with these aggressive moves now.
Yeah, and they just do the jump up lower ramp as fast as you can, kill the players as they jump down from the upper side of the T area where you see all that blood, and the timing works out really well for a CT. And SK is the team that really made that popular. Fallen would do that with an AWP. You'd have Taco flash for him. When they need like a 4v5 round and they're low bot, a lot of time you'll see Taco do it with a Max 7. And it's just a really good way to catch people off guard timing-wise.
Zeus is going to be able to surprise a little bit here by T-Con and open up a pathway for his team to maybe try and bring this back a bit. They have to delay it slightly, though, because of the molly against Adrian, but he can move out now, unfortunately. Immortals are already set up to stop this. Boltz being able to fight from further back, and Zeus is not having much luck either. With only 30 seconds remaining, it's looking likely now that he may just fall back and try to find a suitable position to save this AK, as this round is not going to happen, and we will be seeing a 5th round go up onto the boards for the Immortals.
Yeah, and Immortals really needs to get an AWP, in my opinion, in the hands of Henny, so that you could kind of stop a lot of this aggressive map control coming out from Gambit. Especially at the inner side. I mean, Gambit's been hitting inner, the majority of this half, especially early on. That's kind of what got them a lot of these rounds. And if you could have Henny there, maybe not go upper through that molly, but again, I think if he posts on lower ramp, I think he's going to get that kill and make it 4v5. A really good way as well to do it is if you actually dodge the flash, because a lot of the time they throw a flash and then they peek, and then you peek after that is really nice. That's how Device picks it. But in this case, you might just be able to post up because they're challenging Boltz right away.
Moving into the next gun round now. Gambit still, at the very least, having the potential to buy up for this round and probably having the capability to force into the next one if they want to. Players just still sitting around 3 to 5K-ish, depending on who you're looking at. And it's going to be quick this time from Gambit. No delay into the inner bomb site. Problem is Boltz has been really on point with these long-range sprays, and they even have a flank coming against them again. FNX able to pick one off from way over back in the box halls, and really only one trade against them so far with the elimination of Lucas. Hobbit had the potential to try and push forward and change it, but a great shot from Boltz sends that potential right back down into the dirt. And for FNX, he's going to try and complete this flank. Oh, though, who's been one of the shining stars so far for Gambit. It's going to be a tough player to try and break here now. So he's able to still keep himself alive, hiding from within that smoke and continuing to kind of jump off the ladder to mix things up a little bit. But finally, Steel from up on top is able to punish those final 2 using the smoke to his advantage. Picks up the double kill there at the end and solidifies the 6th round for the Immortals.
Yeah, Boltz playing a complete retake. Doesn't want to get caught at lower ramp. I mean, that was Gambit's plan, right? You just catch him at lower ramp, maybe spotting. You swarm him very quick off that outside fake. But Bolts played a retake setup, and the other big impact player of that round was actually FNX because he came up the ladder very quick. They didn't, account for anybody flanking that fast. He gets that kill, he stays alive, he completely stops Mo from, peeking any sort of CT player since he has to worry about that lower ramp flank.
You'll note the setup overall for the B side has changed away from that more aggressive stance where they tend to either push into it or hold very close to ramp, and instead now they're just keeping Bolts or whoever's in that site further back behind the trains.
Yeah, and it's a perfect counter to actually how Gambit has been taking the site. Because Gambit isn't doing full executes where they get a lot of smokes. They're doing very bursty executes where they maybe throw one smoke and one flash. So hey, you play retake, you get that one kill, and then you play it from a 4v5 standpoint.
So early on here now, Gambit is trying to mess around with outside again. 2 players by Ivy. I think they've got 2 or 1 of them sitting inside of the T-Con as well, with Mo trying to peek into it early on. Ivy's been really, really rough for Gambit, though. It's been extremely hit or miss with their capability to actually successfully push back in and take control of it. So this is going to be desperate for them now, as they are running low on that cash flow, as I mentioned before. And this is going to be one of their last buy rounds before they are forced to eco, and Immortals would take the lead. Right now, just kind of waiting out the smokes, but time is getting low now, under the 50-second mark. And Gambit has not really been a team to want to run it down to that very, very low, 20 or 30-second execute. So they're now going to want to try and move in a little bit here to take that control, and Immortals will oblige them partially. Steel, though, moving back in, able to pick up the first kill. FNX was trying to help with the Ivy situation, but looking away from the short lane, he gave away his own life. And now Steel back into the fray, kills the last player by Ivy, isolates the bomb as well. So now Adrian's got a secondary mission to move back in and retrieve that. He's going to have some help from Mo, but right now it's mainly just Adrian having to go back in, though. Steel trading it back out, holds a consistent position, and Bolts is able to make better progress amongst the chaos here. Mo swinging in, finds one more, but Bolt's in a great position to shut it back down and give that extremely important round to the Immortals.
Yeah, Steel plays Ivy to perfection there. There's absolutely no smokes or nades by Gambit by the time they start taking gun battles. And if you notice how Steel played post, is that he wanted to be the peaker in all those situations. So it was a lot about the timing of when the T's are posted up, and that's when you want to peek over a post. Able to get 3 frags, get the bomb down, and then peek out and sacrifice his life so that Bolts could get the 4th.
Yeah, and Gambit,
the last kill, rather.
Yeah. Gambit buying down here now, and it is Tech 9s and a single AK for Mo. It's not a complete buyout. A lot of players still have around 1,000 or so, but it is bringing down the money to a very, very low point. Thankfully, they're on a pretty big losing bonus, so they should still be good to buy up fully after this one regardless. And now, with the utility they were able to buy, they're getting ready to move into the site. The players from Immortals trying to hold positions on the top train, but it's actually Adrian that strikes first and only loses half of his health in the process of it too. Now trying to move back in, but they're actually going to do something a little bit more interesting about this, and taking it into B and using Z as their own position to isolate off these rotates. They even still have Adrian waiting on the bomb train. They're going to get that plant. They still have CTs in the site that they have to worry about, though. Thankfully, they're holding it off quite raw right now, but here comes Henny trying to start that flank from within side of the site. Hits the first kill with a CZ, trying to drop back down, but Hobbit's on a mission of his own. He knocks out Bolts further into the site, but fails to account for Henny, who picks up a shot with the up. Now this is down to a 1v1. Henny already at very low HP, tries to go for the peak, but it's a miss, and another miss as well, and now he's just going to jump back onto the bomb, try to wait this out for when Zeus chases him, but he can't hold on, and Zeus will clutch it out for Gambit, tying us up once again.
Yeah, and Henny not having a kit really stopped him from winning that round. If he had a kit, he could have just locked it. Instead, he has to go for the kill. A couple missed shots, though. I still think he should have had that. But Zeus wins a really important one. And just when Immortals is about to break their economy and finally force Gambit on a save after winning, what was it, 4 or 5 rounds in a row.
Yep.
Gambit wins the Tech 9 round where they fake outside. Adren gets a ridiculous kill on somebody top 5. That should never happen when you have a Tech 9. And then they go through Z and split towards Inner.
Yeah, once again, we see the economic struggles of the Immortals shine through as they're on a bit of a limited buy. Still the aggression, however, back on ramp. They go right back to it on this round where they do have to force into it, and Bolts immediately impacts, and what's even better, he steals an AK out of their hands, too. So no longer work with just a measly little CZ. He's got a full-on rifle to play with. For the rest of the team, however, still spread out. And Immortals are focusing quite heavily on the A bomb site, sending a few of their players up aggressively. Now, Ivy's going to be left wide open because of this. And Gambit has kept Ivy as a partial option for them. I don't think they're actually going to end up utilizing it, however, with Doja now kind of falling back and away, and they're going to choose to prioritize over here towards T-Con instead. Mo, though, spotting that player up on top. Not going to be able to punish just yet. And they'll safely fall back. Steel even picking up another kill here, too. And a second one. Now Lucas going to be able to swing back out. Adrian trading out Henny in the process. You're down to Mo, but this has been the big player here for Gambit. He knocks out one more in the site, failing to account for the fact that there's a second guy all of a sudden on top of this train. And Lucas with the high ground will shut it down, giving back the lead to the Immortals. And that should completely break Gambit here now.
Yeah, I mean, in that 4v4, they take the risk to just basically stack and kill anybody coming out team mid. mainly. If they come out ladder, it's mainly up to that E-Box guy. He gets that 1 kill, which is just super important. Peaks there on Doja, and the 2-player sandwich, basically a double sandwich play. You know, how do you really account for that, right? You're never going to expect it.
Well, as we do get past halftime here, close scoreline indeed between these two teams, but Immortals do just barely end up with the edge at the end of it here. 8-7 will be their advantage, and we're going to waste no time switching sides. Now Immortals will go over to the T side, and we'll have to see how Gambit's CT side will fare. Thing is, though, is you got to be worried about a player like Mo, excuse me, who led the charge for Gambit on most of that half, especially with his ability to fend off, you know, flanks and these close players that were trying to hunt them down and take up positioning. He ended up nearly double the scoreline of his next highest teammates there with 15 and 9, and the next players down, Adrian and Doja with 9 kills each.
Yeah, but props to Immortals for coming back that half. I mean, that was a tall task, right? Gambit had so much money. It took so many rounds to even put them onto Tech 9s. They had to win like 5 rounds in a row or something like that. And they really come back and you know, end up winning the half. I mean, but Gambit's more than fine with 7 rounds on their T side. Their CT side is very, very strong on train, so they're happy about this regardless.
So now Gambit going to be focusing big time on that A bomb set early on here, but here's the thing, you've got a big stack of Immortals players trying to push forward over here towards B, and Doja taking this right corner, which could have been dangerous, as he's the only one currently in here to defend it. He spots that big stack though, and calls for help from Adrian, who's going to be on the quick Z rotate position, already inside of the site. Now the Immortals will start to roll their way back in, and FNX immediately knocking out Adrian. Doja not even going to be challenging it. He'll fall back over behind the tanker and try to hold off here, but he's going to be pushed by more than one. 3 players working together. A little bit of team damage working its way in there too, but FNX still able to hold on, picking up 2 kills. Mo battling back though with 2 quick USP headshots. Stat Steel and FNX going down, re-evening out the manpower between these two teams. There's still one more to try and find in between tanker here, and Hobbit is going to hunt him out. That's going to be Henny getting knocked out. Now Bolts has to hold up on top of the ramp currently inside of this little crevice which he can hold upon. Doesn't have a Molotov, but he does have the element of surprise. You're normally going to expect this guy to come out from upper. Smoke is on the floor. Bolts can't seem to find the shot though, and Hobbit going out in front to defend his teammate will shut it down with the headshot, giving Gambit the pistol.
Yeah, 2v4 retake, I believe, for Gambit. So a round that you don't think they're going to win, but Mo just these 2 kills right here. Just some nice shots on these aggressive Immortals players. I mean, that's the strat though. But, you know, I always talk about the little things, and a very important thing to note was that Immortals, usually teams wait for that smoke to bloom, then they flash and they go. But they went with the smoke. So Adren sees that the smoke is coming, and he moves to go into a different position, and that's when they go down lower ramp to catch him out of position.
With that, they're able to get their early access to the site, but eventually Gambit were able to roll back in and take control, and now they hold the advantage here. Immortals are going to go for a very light buy in the second round, mainly just P250s, and I think we see 1 Deagle on FNX. Doja, of course, already impacting there with his push onto the ramp, taking down Steel, giving them an early advantage to work with, which he may be able to capitalize upon even more now, but actually chooses not to take that battle. Comes out on the kind of losing end of that one, and he may just outright lose it, but no, holds on. Another headshot from him. Adrian also shining in this site too as he fully commits to it, since his teammate's getting a little bit low, and they are going to be able to pick out these last few players. No losses for Gambit in that second round there.
Yeah, we should be seeing a buy from Immortals right now, but Gambit has a pretty big lead at this point. I mean, you're on the CT side, you already have the round lead. We're going to see a scout on Mo, just 3 umps and an M4 against the full AK buy from Immortals.
You'll note, of course, Immortals, since they didn't get that second plant, though, are going to be a little bit limited in terms of what they bring for utility. Just a few smokes. They won't have any Molotovs or HE grenades to try and use and get players from Gambit out of position with that. So just keep that in mind for when the take actually does begin. In terms of the setup, though, from the Immortals, a fairly standard one. One inside of T-Con, a few up in the halls, and one waiting out by Ivy here. Zeus, though, doesn't really seem too patient in letting those guys stack up towards T-Con. He just makes a move forward inside and knocks out 2 right at the start. Even attempts to pre-fire into ladder room in case one of them tried to move out for revenge, but not going to be happening just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, he did that completely solo as well. He's the only one with an advanced position on T mid, and he's able to get 2 kills with an ump and pick up an AK and live. Like, this round is just Zeus making a huge play.
Took a huge risk as well if he goes down there, as that opens up T-Con and allows for a lot of free control out on the site. Doja, look at him though, moving right back in, executing as well. He's only able to get one this time, but he does spot the bomb inside. Now this is going to prompt for the Molotov over on Ivy to try and hold back more of the Immortals as players. They've only got 2 remaining now, and one of them still stacked way over here towards Ivy. With the bomb in hand, the bomb carrier is what looked like a moment ago going to try to make a move for Inner, and he's going back towards it now. At the very least, he may be able to find the plant. That nade doing massive damage though, and Adren immediately hitting the headshot when Bolts swings into the cross between the trains.
So another strong start from Gambit. I mean, they started out the T side really well, even after losing Pistol. And now it just seems like this game is theirs to lose. I mean, they have a ton of money. Immortals is going to be on a save right now, so they should go up 11-8. Just complete control Gambit has in this game.
Full eco for the Immortals for the most part, just going for the upgraded pistols. Henny not buying anything at all. Lucas only getting a P250, and they're pretty quick to try and move outside. They're going to try and maybe go for a bit of a shocker play here, and it works out to start, taking down Mo at the beginning of it, but Hobbit reacts to that one, taking down FNX across the map over here by Ivy with him getting aggressive. Bolt's able to find a second and another one now as well. Finally, he goes down to Hobbit, who's kind of saving this round at this point. We'll have to hunt for a few more, though, as there's still 2 into the open, back behind the site. Doja in the fray as well here, knocking out Lucas, followed up by Steel. Only 1 remains, and it's going to be Henny, the player, which is the Glock, knocked out with a touchdown grenade as Gambit picks up their 11th round.
Yeah, and even though, Bolts comes out, and I believe he got all 3 of those kills, all Immortals players are kind of committed at that point to outside, and they really don't have any armor, utility, weaponry to kind of take advantage of the picks that Bolts got.
At the very least, it is going to do some economical damage here. Now the scoreline is close. Immortals onto another gun round. It's going to bring their money down a little bit. Still, boatloads of it for the Gambit players. One of them still sitting on 10K. But at the very least, it makes a few of the others a tad vulnerable. Oh, we're trying to make that play early on again, though. The molly is going to hit him, but it doesn't actually fully spread to the back just yet. So he will try to creep forward a little bit here and spots the head of Steel, so he's able to take that body shot and once again give Gambit that early advantage off of Mo's op.
Yeah, before it was Zeus with the ump, now it's 4v5 because of the op. And look at how many nades Gambit uses at the start of the round. Like, Immortals has no chance to really do anything at the start of the round. They throw a lot of smokes and Molotovs towards team mid to stop any rush like that. They even smoked up lower ramp while they're going up for an upper ramp pick. So Immortals, anything you want to do against this Gambit team right now, you have to do slow, you have to do later in the round.
Immortals, since obviously losing that player and positioning, is going to be a little bit over the place here. They do take a few seconds to get their players into better spots. The thing is, it was, again, Zeus just getting in the way of what their execute was going to attempt to be, which was probably a straightforward outer take using both ladder and the T-Con, just going to leave Ivy alone. And with leaving Ivy alone, well, they've got another flank working against them. It's going to come from Hobbit. FNX starting to move back over here, and unfortunately, Zeus finds himself in the open. Adrian also going to be a victim of this as well. You need to watch out for this flank, though. Mo missing the shot, thinking that his opponent was going to swing a bit wider here, so Hobbit needs to make a move quickly, hit by a flashbang afterwards, so it gives FNX time to react and counter-trade that as he moves back in. Puts this down to a 3v2 now with both of the CTs being off-site. Doja trying to sneak back in. He's going to have to immediately impact, and he does. Lucas was prepared for that, but apparently not prepared enough. As Doja will take him back down. Bolt's taking his place just a second later. Brings him down very, very low to just about 11 HP here. And now Mo trying to make his move, but he's still pushed back in at very low HP as well, so he can't take these massive risks. Doja now dead though, and FNX pushing back into the short lane. Shuts down the round and gives it to the Immortals.
Yeah, and one of the other benefits of what Gambit is doing is they can always have ladder room control. They can always threaten a team mid push, and then all of a sudden, if you're Immortals, you have to worry about that. And a lot of the time, if you're going to go outside, it's going to kind of show your hand before you even execute on outer, right? Because you have to throw a lot of flashes and whatnot into ladder. But Gambit losing that round, they did end up getting 3 kills. So Immortals basically bought out right now. So if Gambit wins this round, we could be seeing a save come out from Immortals, and this is a very, very important round.
Yeah, Immortals taking it a lot slower, actually trying to watch out for like aggression this time now as they held on top of it, but still very quick to the point with the actual execute. As you can see, already smokes being deployed, them trying to go for it, and they hit their first entry as Adrian gets knocked out here. Zeus close to where the plan is happening, but he can't seem to react to it immediately here. In the meantime, Mo is still looking for shots at players who are attempting to work their way out from T-Con. Doja is going to be able to hit first strike here for Gambit now, and Zeus continues forward with the second. Doja trying to move his way further out from the ladder room as they are getting flanked, but holding positions and able to trade it evenly back down to a 2v2. Lucas is also working his way through Z currently and is going to attempt to flank, but Mo ready for that one. Hits the close-up shot against Lucas. Now just leaves Henny alone in this situation here. He's going to very slowly try to work his way back around Sandwich along through the short lane and try to counter it out, but this is not planted for him right now, and he loses out in the first duel he takes. It'll be a little bit close on that defuse, and actually they're not even going to have enough time for it. So with that said, Immortals will win out the round and take it up to 10.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of a kit, Mo has to kill that lurker, and it just takes way too long for him to get on the bomb. Gambit's having a lot of success, though, just flanking. Doja twice now has gone down ladder without anybody from Immortals watching it, gotten kills. Hobbit had that T mid flank. He only ended up getting 1 kill, but it should have been much more. It should have been a round-winning flank. So Immortals, you know, if Gambit's going to continue this, it could be something that Immortals wins a round because they kill the flanker, maybe go, you know, if Doja pushes in or something like that, kill him, immediately take inside. But they got to start watching out for that.
Gambit now into a pause here with their money being basically broken. This is going to be the worst part about it too. Is everybody buying up into this round as much as they can, but for those that haven't bought yet, Doja and Zeus trying to figure out how exactly they're going to proceed with Zeus only having 2,900 and Doja at 3,200. Zeus resolves to go for a UMP buy, and I imagine Doja's going to have to do something similar, but they're just trying to scrap together weapons here now, and them being broken could allow for Immortals to once again swing back and take the lead, just like they did in the first half for a few rounds.
Yeah, and that time Immortals executing pretty quick, not allowing Gambit to, you know, make it 4v5 or get aggressive anywhere really in any type of mid-round, getting an op pick, right? They just executed pretty quick onto outside, and everybody was out of the play. Like, it was an easy plant for Immortals. Gambit forced to do a retake setup, and, you know, without a kit, and they still this round only have 1.
Taking way too long to be able to find the position of the last player that was alive there for the Immortals. Henny tries to go for the no-scope early on. Not going to be able to hit it, just on point as he was looking for. And Mo trying to respond back to it, but also probably going to be ending up missing those shots. Gambit back to aggression once more, though, as you have Zeus pushed up into the ladder room here. Adrian even trying to play close within the sandwich this time. Not prioritizing the bomb train as you'd usually expect, but just trying to grab intel early on, which Zeus has done. The thing is, though, is this heavy commitment into the A site would come back to bite them, but thankfully they're kind of destacking it, putting players closer to the bomb train, which is going to make this rotate to inner a little bit easier. Immortals going down the ramp now, starting off their push inside, and Henny hitting that first kill. Doja now trying to survive for the bomb train, was looking for upper pressure, but no one ever came back out, so he's off angle when he finally takes the duel. Henny now hitting another shot, and Lucas pushing forward up to Z, gonna try to chase Zeus back and prevent him from saving as he's running it away, having to turn himself around, but he's got 2 different angles to play off of here, and fails to look towards Z, which is where FNX is gonna swing out from first, punishing Zeus and preventing any saves at all by Gambit.
Yeah, really bursty strat from Immortals, and they're looking great on this T side. They just immediately smoke down lower, flash down, rush it. There's no counter nades really coming out from Doja. He catches a flash, he goes middle bomb. Henny outpicks Mo, using that one-way smoke at lower ramp. And then from there, Doja has to look upper because of that smoke. He doesn't know if they're out lower, you know, and where exactly they are. It's just kind of an impossible task for him to hold. He's lucky. He would be lucky to even get 1 kill there, just positionally speaking.
Well, Immortals swinging out once again. Zeus attempts a surprise from Elox, but apparently not going to get very close with that one. The rest of the CTs that are out here are for the most part hanging out around the trains, and Immortals are making quick work of that one. FNX getting lost along the way, but doesn't seem to be too big of an issue. Already down to just 2 players now, 1 left alive for Gambit, and Hobbit alone here, holding out at the edge of the short lane, trying to line up for 1 kill, but not even going to get close to that. Lucas knocks them out, and it's Immortals now taking the lead for the 2nd time so far in this game.
Very similar start to each half, right? The T side, you know, they lose the pistol. Then once they start getting a little bit of guns, they, you know, they win the mid game or the middle of the rounds. And now we'll see if Gambit can stop it. Mo back on the op again. 4 M4s for them. Just seems like this outer aggression by Immortals is it looks like they're just going to rush outside again.
They're going to continue to play very aggressively and very straightforward here as it's working for them. Gambit don't seem to be ready or set up for these types of pushes, and you're going to see an example of that right at the start of this play. Mo not checking the short lane, expecting them to be that far up. Hobbit and Adrian are going to be able to battle this back this time, though. We're not going to immediately be put into like a 2v4 like we seem to have in these past few rounds, but still advanced positioning being taken, but also a flank this time from Doja as he picks up a beautiful double kill, knocking out FNX in bolts. Just going to leave Henny alive here now, and he's forced back behind T-Con, so Gambit holding good control. Unless they don't play this together like that, that's where Henny's going to be allowed to take advantage upon the last 2, and now isolate this into a 1v1.
Yeah, but again, they're not watching the flank. That's the 4th time that they've gotten flanked, and the 3rd time that they've been flanked from Doja.
Henny now alone in this situation. and he is going to choose to take his time with the play. The problem is, though, he's rotating right into where Doja is currently hiding out at, from behind that spindle on the jump up, back from behind Z. He's paying attention to it, and for the most part, expecting this to be a play either out from Z or over in the ramp itself, but instead, Henny just took a long path to get himself into the A bomb site. But now look at this. He's going to be hiding up in heaven, giving him a little bit more intel. And if Doja moves out too prematurely here, it could just give himself away. But I think Doja's going to be fine to hang out in this position and wait for Henny to try and cross out from the site or further in. Doja's still getting a little bit closer up now. He's all the way behind the ticket booth. And Henny finally going to come down from his perch up in heaven. The smoke going out will give him room to safely cross and plant, but this is actually going to be right in a position where Goja can wrap back around, find Henny, and take him down. So it's a round for Gambit, and they're going to tie us up at 12-12.
Yeah, Doja saving that round with that ladder flank. Plays the 1v1 very well. He positions himself in Z, so if he goes inside, he can go quickly there, maybe challenge him before he can get into a good spot. And of course, if he goes outside, he's right there, ready to frag him like we just saw. But Immortals should be able to be on a full buy. And, you know, Gambit won the round, but they won the round with only one alive. So their economy is pretty hurt right now. They're going to be able to get the op, maybe even double op if they want. Although we usually don't see that too much from Gambit. So yeah, we are only going to see one of them. But, you know, again, they won the round with one alive. So if Immortals can take this round, they're going to reset them. And we'll see if they continue with that same strategy, just not allowing Gambit to, you know, get aggressive with Mo and make it 4v5 or anything with these quick bursty strats.
Yeah, it's looking like, once again, Immortals are going to try and put some pressure outside, but it's just a little bit, not actually sending a whole lot of players out into the open this time. For the most part, actually sending quite a few of them back through the White Halls to try and get themselves in a position over here to line up for sort of a B hit. And FNX just preemptively spraying in the event that Zeus wanted to try and adventure forward into the ladder, which he did, but not that far forward. Just going to be, I think, hanging out by the doorway here in the event they actually try to drop play. Gambit sort of expecting an inner hit here now, and it's a good read, too, having these two players so committed and so early into the site, as now you could potentially have someone like Zeus try to push their way back up the ladder in a moment here when they execute, as this is going to end up being a full commitment from the Immortals inside of this site. Well, in they go, just a little bit of delay to wait out the counter nades from Gambit, and then they will move back in. And as they do it, Doja sits in the cross, ready to challenge. He picks up the first kill, but is going to get immediately traded up by FNX. Now it's up to Adrian and Mo, who have rotated into this site. That flank is on its way in, however, and in just a moment, Zeus is going to try to impact with the shotgun from close up. Henny is able to hold against one. Henny finding a second here, and Zeus is rolling right through as both Mo and him pick up the last two kills and give another round to Gambit.
I mean, again, it's the flank. Zeus comes up ladder, nobody's watching it. It's a 2v2. He just flanks them with the Mag 7. And that round, a lot of it just came down to actually outside. Because Zeus is in ladder, he knows nobody's there. There's no Ivy pressure at all from Immortals. It's just a straight inner take. And Mo's actually opping outside into T mid. So if you come outside, he's going to have a really early call. That's going to allow you to have two towards inner, you know, throughout the entire round.
And like I said before, earlier on in the round, a great read by Gambit, just put two in that site to begin with. The first player, Doja, if I remember correctly, only gets that one kill as he takes the duel, but it's the second player that is able to pick up far more and buy the time, not only for Mo to rotate in with the op, but also to allow Zeus to get into a position with, you know, obviously a not so perfect gun, but thankfully it was wide open for him to just roll right in and even, you know, make mistakes with his aim to finish off the job if needed. Now we are going to have players from the Immortals once again trying to line themselves up for a box halls push here. Dozier spotting it, and he does indeed spot it. So Molly onto the ground. They're going to challenge it anyway. They do overwhelm him, but the Molotov finishes one up before they can escape the flames. FNX trying to continue forward, but Adrian swinging in, trades that kill back out onto FNX, leaving just a few alive from within side of the site. And Mo hitting yet another shot, knocking out Lucas. Just Bolts and Henny left alive. Both in the back calls are on the ramp too. So Henny down below, hoping he gets a couple peeks from these players, but not going to find it. They don't even have the Molly to throw back down. Adrian kills the top player. That was the one with the nade as well. And Henny tries to challenge, but is immediately dispatched by Zeus as Gambit go up to 14, and this time with 4 alive.
Yeah, and the key kill there is when, I believe it was FNX, if I'm not mistaken, is rushing towards Z, and the Z player just comes out and kills him. That's Adrian. The key. Yeah, that's the key kill right there. If that would have went the T's way, that's almost certainly an Immortals round.
Well, now it is going to be a round, this is, where Immortals really have no choice but to win it as they forced into it. 3 umps, 2 rifles as well, 1 AK and 1 Galil. They're definitely stretching the buy. And if they drop this one, They're going to find themselves very, very limited to go into what could be the last round, and a round where Gambit could indeed just end it right here. Mo ends up boosting himself up on top of Amali, so a lot of their players behind the bomb train are going to be out of position here as Immortals just go right back to the aggression that was working for them earlier on in this half. This time, though, their positions are being punished quite heavily. Only Bolts and Lucas and now FNX able to trade in a few kills, kept even, but Adrian still holding on to the old bomb tunnel. He'll take down FNX, leaving just Bolts alive, and Doja swings in again from the backside to shut out Bolts and give Gambit their 15th round.
I mean, again, it's the flank.
Yep.
That is, how many times has Doja flanked them and they're not watching it? If they simply watch that, it's a free kill and the inner side is open. I don't know how you can't account for that time after time again when it just keeps punishing you.
I mean, at this point, we're starting to sound like a broken record bringing it up every round, but
yeah,
it's
but
true.
how do you not adjust to that?
Yeah, that's the big question. Well, now we take a look at what the Immortals bring to the table, and it's a very similar vibe, but an even less in state, less utility across the board. One player having to go away from a UMP all the way down to a Tech 9, and now no AKs, 2 Galils sitting in the mix. And it is looking like they're going to attempt a very, very similar strat, already setting up their full nade rush outside here and sending all their players in position to execute. Now here they go, out into the open, but already Adrian being able to burn one. Mo, and Adrian burns a second, and Mo hits his second shot for this round. Down to 8 HP, but it's all on Henny alone now. He's able to catch that spray onto Zeus, and he also goes up on top to find Mo. Nice clip there to be able to finish off the job on Mo, but he's not going to get any further than that. Adrian finishes off the map, and it's Gambit that take control here, 16-12, and a 1-0 start to this grand final set.
Yeah, and I mean, if Immortals just plays a little bit more carefully on that T side, especially when it came to Doja flanking, you almost never see that happen at this level of play. That player inside full rushes non-stop to get down ladder and flank, and he was successful each time. And it's a free kill if you're Immortals and you watch it. It really is an absolute free kill. Just, I don't know, that's very questionable by Immortals.
It's a bit of a shame too, because that was really the one thing that kept, like, you know, causing them to lose these rounds. They were doing really good once again in the mid portion of the half, winning it out with just that blind aggression. But the problem is it was purely blind in the sense that they weren't watching those flanks. And that was the one thing that saved Gambit in almost every single round that allowed them to actually close out on that map.
I mean, I don't know what they're saying to each other. It came and was a huge impact in every single one of those rounds. He's literally just rushing Blue.
Yeah.
He's just rushing behind you.
Holding W.
It's a free kill if you're a T and you watch for it, and just nobody even cares about it.
Yeah, it's well, it's a bit unfortunate for the Immortals. Hopefully they'll be able to adjust for that and go into map number 2, but it's very much a Gambit affair here on Train, and they are going to be able to take control of that. Now they're 1-0 up, and that 2-0 prediction that the analysts were looking for may be very well true, of course, as now we're going to go over to Inferno, where we definitely have to see some big impact for the Immortals, and they want to keep it alive to send it over to the 3rd map on Cobblestone.
Yeah, I mean, Immortals is a lot better, in my opinion, on Inferno than they are on Train. We kind of expected Gambit to take Train, at least I did. But having said that, Immortals had a great opportunity to win that map. They had 2 different rounds where they were fully bought out, could have broken the economy from Gambit. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to because, once again, just not watching that flank.
All right, well, now we're going to bring the analysts into the conversation now and get their thoughts, of course, on how map number 1 went, guys.
Yeah, boys, it's an intriguing one. I think we do just throw it straight over to you guys. Daze, your observation is that they weren't watching the booty, and I know Halvor's no stranger to that. So,
it constantly goes wrong.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely an issue. We saw Doja having an amazing impact really throughout the game, and I think what Sam mentioned really, the fact that Doja was able to get back behind them so quickly, similar to what Stanislaw did for Optic so many times when they were going at it at Train. That was really the deciding factor. Whenever you saw Immortals going towards that yard area, Doja was just kind of a part of that rush with them.
How many times do you think it was? Like 3, 4?
I think it was 5 times in total, and I think it was 4 by Doja and 1 by Hobbit. One of the rounds, Hobbit only got 1 and they lost out. But what do you think? I mean, that's like kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm kind of shocked.
I don't know if they're like fully focused on their set execute, that in their execute they forgot to have a guy watching their flank.
I think it's also, the mind games come into play here because, Doja does it once. And then he does it twice. And now you're thinking to yourself, like, Doja at this point is expecting someone to hold the flank, so he's not going to be as fast. But Doja just doesn't give a damn. So that works out.
It even happened on the inner bomb side as well, where like they were just always flanking instantly, and Immortals never had map control.
Yeah. So there was one round with Zeus.
I completely forgot about that. Zeus flanked with the Mag 7.
Yep.
Chaos on map 1. Train did go the way of Gambit, and I think we were all crossing our fingers and toes for 3, but we'll see what happens on Inferno. We'll come back to you guys in a moment. You can go get a mouthful of water before we get into that second map. We'll just quickly get these guys' thoughts. Thank you. So, Halvor and Eric, we've seen Immortals fall on Train. I mean, full double digits. They put up the fight. Is spurring confidence for your predictions? Are you feeling pretty sound in what you've seen so far?
I mean, so far, I guess it was as expected that Gambit would get away with it. I think it's fair to say, well, you know, win the first map at least, you know, because I do think that Immortals have plenty of chances of actually closing Train out as well, which is kind of surprising. The point where Gambit loses the 1v2 situation after playing where they don't have a defuse kit after, you know, basically forcing up. I think it was only Doja who had anything left in the bank. That could have been a massive swing around, but then you see 2 rounds later, Doja comes through in the clutch once again versus in the 1v1 versus Henny, just wonderfully played by him. And again, off the back of a back 7 pop, that kind of sealed everything for them.
Yeah, and those 1v1s, you like when you're watching it, you realize you don't get those scenarios very often when they just disappear. You know, you have like 30 seconds of just this kind of...
It becomes this own game within the game.
It was so interesting. It really was, just to see how, like, from Henny's perspective, was Henny correct?
Yeah.
How he just kind of, he would like, had no idea. Like, especially on Train, there's like 7 different possibilities of where Dosia is working his magic, and he did pick up that round. So did, and Gambit picked up the map. Any kind of closing thoughts on Train? Because I want to have, you know, ample time just to talk about Inferno, Eric.
Yeah, I think just looking at how Immortals played the late end of their terrorist half, you could see that they were going straight into execute, something that they've planned and practiced.
Right.
And a lot of teams will do that in pressure situations where you go to what you've practiced.
Yeah.
But I think they're sometimes just hopping into it too quickly. You saw just like a fast outside rush that they've practiced a lot. I forget what else. We saw like the smoke walls outside, but like just right off the bat, kind of like freeze time calling, like Steel is going to be calling, let's do this strategy.
Yeah.
And instead of them just working the default, kind of baiting the nades out of Gambit and just kind of using your individual skill to see what's going on, we really didn't see that out of them. I'm wondering why. It's
kind of the opposite of what we saw from G2, who did the exact opposite. They would still be very quick about it. They would just immediately go into, you know, trying to find some openings with their individual skill and not ever go back to setting up for an execute after they've baited out a couple of you know, nades and mollies here and there. So again, it's finding that sweet balance between the two that I think Immortals kind of struggled with, because it's very true what you said. It was either just an immediate setup for a yard push or just setting up for that inner execute. And I think the second time they did that inner execute, that they used, like they set up immediately, not getting any map control at all, but they still waited long enough to the point where Gambit figures out, like, okay, we've kind of pushed the extremities. We haven't heard a single thing towards Ivy or teammate throughout the entire game. And that's where you see Suze. Yeah, exactly. And that's where you see Suze coming behind, and that just completely ruins whatever hope Immortals had of winning the round, even though he did struggle a bit with the Mag 7.
Do they fall into the same footfalls, do you think, on Inferno? We got to see them. I mean, Daze has already stated he thinks they're much tighter and much better on that. Do you think they have the same faults on their T side coming into Inferno from what you've seen, Eric? Because I mean, there seems to be quite a lot of praise for the Brazilians on Inferno.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better on Inferno than they are in Train. I didn't get to see how Gambit. I know Gambit's been recently having success on Inferno.
Yeah,
I didn't see like how they're doing their setup, like where Mo's opping. So I'm not really sure of how that matchup's going to work out, but maybe you have some insight on that.
Well, for at least what they did versus SK at the Summit, SK do have a very distinct way of playing Inferno, which is very easily abusable, which is what Gambit took full advantage of, because they would send Phelps alone into Banana with having Fallen playing from T-Pit. And that was pretty much Banana control for them. And Gambit would respond with that, just immediately having 3 people push aggressively in Banana, take out Phelps. If they get the 1-for-1 trade, they were perfectly happy with that, because SK did very little to actually recontest control for Banana. And at that point, we end up in a similar scenario as we saw with Hellraisers versus Gambit, the fact that, you know, you're just giving away half the map.
Right.
And you know, unlike what we saw Hellraisers do, Gambit take full advantage of that. They're just going to stick one guy towards B, stack up on A side, makes your A defense so much better. And that's something that obviously Immortals have to keep in mind. But I think it's going to be difficult for them, because we have seen, you know, they do like to go towards Banana early. They do send more, you know, just firepower really towards Banana on the T side, but they do have to be aware of the fact that Gambit oftentimes comes with 3 players and not just the typical 2 who flash out to see if they can get an early pick.
Well, it's going to be very exciting. You've got, you know, an intriguing storyline starting to develop. Should Gambit win this map, they will not only be crowned champions here for DreamHack ASTRO Open in Austin, they also will probably have climbed into that top 10 ranking. Currently, in most people's eyes, sitting 11th on those team standings. This would be enough to put them into that top 10. On the other side, Immortals getting their first win with FNX in the roster and lifting a second DreamHack Open trophy. That certainly would be pretty big for them. Either way, it has to be a Brazilian barbecue on Inferno to get us to that third, or it will all end here and Gambit will finally break that, what feels like a curse of grand finals, but no trophy. It's all going to be determined on Inferno. Let's jump into it after a very short commercial break. Blue and Dazed are waiting in the wings, though, to cast potentially our final map of the tournament.
top, it could be picking. Key gets a cross.
Yes, and doing B45s. Leggage is just ripping them apart.
Sneaking in, they're not paying attention to it right now. Come on, they're gonna reload. So smart for Blade.
He gets on the bomb, Flash comes out, he's gonna slide out though. Finds the throw!
There he switches over to the pistol for a second. He's looking for a third and all.
Exclusive Black Equalizer brightens dark scenes without overexposing bright areas. Use the S switch to quickly access the setting and switch between save modes.
Now we've got a round for them. So 12 kills to start off combined for this round. For this round alone is more than they found than any other. It's going to be Freiburg trying desperately to get back up toward the A site. Bomb down inside of it.
Grab your gear and let's go.
With the Strafe Esports app, follow your favorite teams and players, and you'll never miss a match again. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
Oh, crap.
What if there was a DreamHack PC? What if we told you there is? This is the DreamHack PC, built with the best components on the market, optimized for a flawless esports experience. Just add games.
Wake up in the morning with whiskey on my mind and Dixie in my soul. Wake up. Wake up. Promise of a crimson tide and a brighter day. Moving like a spectre, aching to forget the rain. Dancing through the shadows, turn around a losing game.
Well, it's time to jump back into battle between Gambit and the Immortals, who got close to taking the victory back on our first map on Train, but failed to watch their flank time and time and time again. And that alone saved Gambit in so many gun rounds that they were able to successfully close out the map on it. So they have the control going into map number 2, which is going to be on Inferno, but it's a completely different beast, so we may not be able to see those happen anymore going into this second map.
Yeah, and if you're Immortals, you're saying, you know what, even though we felt like we probably should have had Train, I think they were set up to take that W. You know, having a really good T side besides, of course, those mistakes. You're just saying, hey, they won their map pick. You know, this is our map. This is the map we're most confident on. And I think you're very confident going into this.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that I am going to be worried about with the Immortals is the fact that Mo really came alive in that first map there, and the op presence was insane. Now, depending on where they're going to be positioning him, whether it's on Banana or waiting out for the mid choke point, that's going to be a big powerhouse to deal with. And especially if Henny doesn't come back to live to sort of counteract that and any of the op on up tools, that's going to be a big problem, because we really didn't see all that much from Henny for most of it. A lot of it, granted, due to economical issues in the first half, but even in the second half, we didn't really get to see a whole lot of him in a lot of situations.
Yeah, on that T side, well, a lot of it was, you know, outer takes and whatnot. They were going towards inner and these really bursty strategies. So a lot of the time, you know, when you're opping in those scenarios, maybe you just don't see opportunities for picks like that, even with like the bomb train smokes and whatnot. And then on CT side, of course, the economic issues that he didn't have an op for a long time when Gambit just kept hitting inner and going through upper time after time again. But for me, if I'm looking at Immortals, the thing I would be worried about for them on Inferno is that oftentimes Bolts, although he usually does get that first kill, I think he could get traded out around that porch side. He usually peeks it and then will get that one kill, but I think if he gets traded out and puts it into 4v4, you could leverage that into a round win if you RTs. So that's the one thing I would be worried about if I was Immortals. Besides that, their CT side and T side of Inferno is really solid from whenever I watch them.
Well, guys, it's time to jump into it now. Our second map between these two teams. Immortals do fall in the first, but they have a chance to come back now in the second one. We're live into the pistol, and this time it's going to be Immortals starting off on the T side. Right at the beginning of this one, they'll swing themselves up in a big stack towards Banana, and they are probably going to execute into the site following it up as well. Hobbit able to hold for the first kill. Adrian struggling to get a frag, but thankfully Hobbit's here. He's going to pick up a second one. Good damage has been done, and now Mo right back into the fray, finding one kill on his own regard. Adrian finally striking as well, but Mo, he's going to find that second and final kill for himself as Gambit dominate this first pistol.
Yeah, and you know, I don't like going B at the start because of exactly what Gambit did. Almost every team right now puts 3B at the start on pistol because as you're going through middle, you could check T steps and you could jump into boiler and you could just jump across and see all of vault middle. And if you don't see anybody there, why not just have 3B? You know, and if you see a bunch there, then you still have enough time to rotate out B and go towards A.
Got an alt push coming back in. There's also presence in mid. Mo, I think he moved a little bit early there, so that shot, which almost looked like it was going to be head-on against one of the players of the Immortals, doesn't end up connecting, but what does connect is this fast push from Doja, getting both Lucas and Bolt at the beginning of the round. A response from Henny and Steel, too, as they actually overcommit to it a little bit. I think Steel getting dinked. Doja tries to interrupt that kill, but no, they hold on and now bring this down to a 3v2. Adrian getting aggressive out Banana, though, brings things back down to reality, and it is just going to be FNX. But as a circumstance of this aggressive push, the positions on the map have ended up flipping, and now FNX is going to find free passage over to the A-bomb site, where he's going to get that bomb on the ground. Actually, I'm not even sure if Gambit fully realized where it went to, but thankfully they're heading to the right site. They're going to swing themselves up to the mid choke point here in a moment and swing back around over to try and take down FNX. But FNX is going to be a little bit sneaky about this. He actually doesn't stay within the site. He's going to try to wrap all the way around these players up onto the platform, but we're already going to see the start of the defuse, so FNX is going to possibly speed up a little bit here, but maybe not actually, as they don't jump into it just yet. FNX, though, creeping back up. So here's the one jumping, but unfortunately for him, he's not actually going to be able to get anything done in that 1v2. Immediately taken down by Hobbit, and Gambit will get their second round.
Yeah, that smoke grenade that comes down on the bomb makes it really difficult for FNX. I mean, he even gambled it, right? They could have just straight diffused. He just kept walking, but that smoke grenade makes it really difficult for him. The timing was a bit off. They came to the bomb so quickly that by the time they didn't see him at Moto after they tapped the bomb, you know, they could just assume that he's probably flanking porch or maybe inside halls.
Well, after that one now, Immortals do have to go onto the light buy for them. P250, 2 Deagles, and 2 Tech-9s with only Steel having armor behind his by Bolts with a nice shot to begin it, but once again they get aggressive in mid. And Zeus pushing forward is not only able to find Bolts, but follows it through with FNX as well, even spinning around to pick up a third one before he's finally taken out by Lucas. Doja taking down Lucas directly afterwards, though, leaves only Henny alive, so you are going to look at the straight 3-0 start for Gambit. The thing is, though, is they actually are going to end up losing, 4+ players, depending on if Henny was able to get any kills here. So their money is not going to be as solid as you would sometimes expect for these teams in this situation.
Yeah, and Gambit just taking that, mid-push strategy, pushing B and middle on these anti-ecos. It's actually, pretty successful. I think it's a good way to play the anti-ecos, but a lot of the time you're going to suffer casualties. It's pretty rare that you win those rounds just absolutely cleanly, as we saw, but you usually do take the round.
Well, this will take us into our first gun round here, where we can see a few players, at least one, in the case of Adrian, is going to choose to stick with the UMP. Everyone else, though, going back up to M4s now. They're not actually going to have an op for this first gun round, you should importantly note. So that'll be out of the picture, at least for right now, but it's definitely in the picture for the Immortals. Henny picking it up right from the start here on this first gun round, and he's even able to get it with armor, and a little bit of utility sitting behind it as well. So just nice and slow early on for the Immortals here in this first round. They actually have the firepower to play it. They are going to take quick halls control, but beyond that, they are kind of biding their time and holding back. Bolts messing around a little bit with Banana there, but that's really about it early on for these first few seconds.
Yeah, and they burn almost all their utility at B, trying to double molly and then smoke after it. So if I'm Immortals here, I'm saying, hey, I still have B control. You used every single nade you have at B. Let's just end up going back B, guys.
They also early rotated a Dren back over, too, so we are going to have Hobbit waiting up on the B platform, and he's going to be the only one here right now, so that would have to be a quick rotate back in the event. He does here see pressure, but he's not aggressively postured up at all, so he's going to spot that pretty late in the event that we did actually see Immortals follow through with a bit of a B hit. They still those guys in halls, though, down to 40 seconds now, and they're still just in this default setup, so you're going to have to ask yourself at some point what the end game is going to be. Is they're running out of time to even set up for it? The bomb, though, very much seems to be posturing itself up to head up through mid into A, and that seems to be the case. As now Henny even drops and is going to leave Bolts to pick it back up. The team moving in, they're not going to leave themselves any time at all to actually make this execute happen, though. 20 seconds, it basically have to be flawless. That's a good start, though. Lucas knocking out Zeus back over here by the porch, leaves mainly Doja to defend. Mo is able to strike back with 1 kill on his own regard, but then Lucas picks up another one, knocks out Doja afterwards, and leaves only 3 up and running for Gambit here. And Mo in a bit of a tough spot, stuck inside of the Moto cubby now, and really no safe way out of it. He also lost half of his HP, too, so really needs to get a Dren and Hobbit in positions to move out quickly and retake this. Thankfully, Mo was actually able to escape from that cubby over there, so he's now going to rejoin with the others. But in terms of an actual retake here, things aren't looking too good. They're still slowly kind of clearing out the halls at this point, trying to make sure that they're not going to have to worry about a flank because of that. There is still going to be 1 T up on top, but at the end of the day, they just decide that it's not worth it to go for this, and they're going to end up backing away, trying to look for exit kills instead, and let Immortals have their first round.
Yeah, the Immortal strategy right there was essentially, as they are going to still, have an op, but their entire strategy was, hey, they're burning all their utility, let them use all of that, every smoke Molotov was just used to essentially delay Immortals, and then let's just go take clean gun battles and go up into that A site. And in a very disconnected setup as well, right? Zeus dies at porch, there's 1 trade kill from Arch, but then it's a 4v1 from that pit player.
So now full investment does go in for the Gambit roster, at least as full as they can get now after losing that last one. Like I said before, they would have to make sacrifices because their anti-ecos weren't so clean. So we have a UMP sitting on Zeus, if a Moss for Doja. They're going to strike first this time. No, it's Adrian instead of Mal pushing back out in this direction over towards B, who is going to be able to pick up that first kill. Mal, in the meanwhile, is going to be playing back over here on the A side, over on Porch side with that op, instead of where a lot of other teams position their operators nowadays, but she is going to be back over there on the B site, trying to fend off aggression from the Ts.
Yeah, but a good round last round from Gambit. I mean, they only, they got a lot of kills, so if they win this round, you're going to reset Immortals. You see Immortals has no nades. They just have no nades in a 4v5, just a nade and a flashbang, and Henny's already down to 37 HP.
And still no lineup to actually move back in, or actually start this take, I should say. They've got the lineup. It's their players inside of the halls right now, but they're not going to have really any porch pressure or anything. It seems like for the most part, it is just going to be players trying to push out over here on the balcony, which Gambit is set up for really well to counter right now. And immediately, Mo's going to hit that first shot on Steel. Sees more coming back out. This is when the pit player hopefully strikes, and indeed he does. Henny, the only one that's able to trade a kill back, but now Doja. It took him a minute, but he did end up spotting this now last mid alive, and it's Henny at 10 HP, trying to make a miracle work. Definitely not going to happen, though. Zeus shuts it down. Gambit winning out now that next trade round, and this should reset the losing bonus for the Immortals.
Yeah, so basically a perfect start to this game from Gambit. I mean, you have that one, scuffed round that you lose, but you immediately reset Immortals. And Gambit looking strong, just like they did on the start of T-side of Train. So these strong starts really helping Gambit take these early leads. They have a great economy right now. And like you said, they were set up picture perfect to stop that Halls take. It's a 4v5. They say, hey, let's just go back into a passive. We know if we hold a passive, we can each get at least one kill. Mo gets the entry kill from Moto. Think about how easy that makes it when you're the pit player and the site player after that.
As he lightens the pressure right from the start, and then the pit player doesn't even have to worry about porch, I think, because he had I think it was Zeus that was up at the time by like Haybarrels as well, watching out for that as sort of an advanced position. So both Mo and whoever was in the pit in that situation are both able to basically fully focus on the push out from the balcony, and that makes that really easy to shut down that situation unless the Immortals come out with some killer entries. And now back to the mid pressure that we've seen a whole lot of from Zeus. The problem is they are starting to read into this and find ways to counter it, but apparently not as Zeus and Mo. And oh, Zeus again! Right up in Bolts' face, takes him out with just a measly little default pistol. And well, for FNX, he's not going to get very far either. Makes a last-ditch attempt to come back out and take A control, but not going to happen. Gambit shutting that one down, and now 5-1 ahead.
Yeah, and so far, every anti-eco, they just send that mid-rusher. They throw that molly alt mid, so if you want to challenge it from alt, you have to go through that. And then you also have to fight the people at top mid. So, like that player right there, he's running through a Molotov. Both of them are.
Again, like I said before, nice control from Zeus. Not even giving Immortals any chances here now in these bot down rounds. And we are going to have another one from the Immortals too. It's Tech 9's only 2 players able to afford armor behind that buy. Very slowly paced to set up here once again, as they do send players over to the halls early on, taking a little bit of control inside there, but that would be it for early round. They're not trying to move up Banana. In fact, Gambit has taken full B control with an aggressive smoke, and we had, I believe it was Adrian pushing, or Hobbit actually, excuse me, pushing all the way back down to check out for that. Now basically just kind of waiting this one out here too. Gambit, no reason to go aggressive again. It's going to get a little bit too predictable if Zeus were to try to go for that once more. Instead, he just patiently waits outside the boiler, where he's going to have a whole load of players working their way out into his direction in a moment. Great timing on the Molotov, though. Delays the hit for another 5 to 10 seconds here, as those mid choke point players are not going to be blocked, but still Zeus decides he doesn't want to actually take this direct challenge. Instead falls back, and again falls back around the post-up corner too. Now they're going to be moving back in. Doge is up on the balcony, though. He will get run over by FNX. And we've got Mo in the fray too, but Mo's the only one still alive here now, and he almost gets that last kill as well. Adrian, though, swiftly moving in from the other side, is going to shut that down. And while it does come down to 2 from Gambit, they do stop the site take without the bomb getting planted.
Yeah, Mo making a lot of impact on all these porch takes. That's something that Immortal should recognize right now, is that it's pretty easy, right now to push Mo back towards Moto. And it makes taking halls and porch a lot more difficult if that guy's there and you don't have that Moto smoke, or he's pushing through the smoke. He's just making an impact on all those takes. But that is something that Immortals can recognize and maybe throw a fake there and then send people arch.
We do have now the pressure once again in for the Immortals, and specifically Henny back on the op here too, as he gets it for the second time, I do believe, and he's going to immediately impact with it, catching Adrian once again, making that aggressive push down Banana, and this time dispatching of him.
Yeah, I think he just caught him straight through the smoke.
It's a nice clean shot right at the start. They knew that they had to have known that they were pushing it aggressively, and they've definitely kind of made a pattern of it. And they even now rotate Zeus back over, who normally plays around mid or just port side there. Hobbit does find a trade kill, however, from up on top of his logs position, catches bolts either on top or through the smoke, and re-evens it back down to a 4v4.
Yeah, that's basically a one-way smoke. When you smoke next to the logs and you stand above it, very difficult for the Tees to see you at all. And it's also set up very well because I believe he had who was that behind him just kind of spamming the smoke. So, of course, after you kill somebody B, you're not going to expect somebody on top of the logs like that when the other player is spamming. Yeah.
So he goes back over. Actually, he's a bit of a rotate player right now, too. He's not going to fully commit to B, but just kind of hanging out in CT spawn right now in the event they do recommit, which they're going to do. Hobbit's in a very overexposed position, commits to one kill, then falls back behind the half wall, only at 5 HP, but reinforcements are on the way very quickly, and Hobbit even able to get a second kill before going down in that situation. Lucas finally trading him back out, but now Zeus into the battle here, picks up one, the missed op shot from Henny. That's going to seal the deal. Nice, quick rotation from Zeus, prevents Immortals once again from even getting close to a plan in that site.
Yeah, that was sick by Hobbit, going back into the half wall. Not unexpected by Immortals. He gets the early information. It allows Zeus to rotate, to clean those last 2 kills up. And Gambit right now, I mean, especially B right there, if they're going to be able to get B control like that, I mean, that round wasn't that close, and it wouldn't, you know, it would have been a lot easier if Henny didn't get that kill through that smoke.
Doja definitely sees this alt mid pressure early on, so he's going to prep Mo and some of the others for this now as he just backs up to the site way over there in those A-halls. Doja definitely doesn't want a piece of that, and Mo promptly mollying off things, and he'll smoke it too. That smoke's going to come in a little bit late, but thankfully Doja back over here at the porch side, and this is just going to be utter decimation. Henny and FNX are able to trade out 2 of those kills, but they still don't have to push onto the site and deal with Zeus. They're being smart about it, though. They are trying to pinch upon Zeus, and nice shot from FNX. Now armed with an up. That clears at the bomb site. They're finally going to be able to find a plant, and not only this, too, but they'll have plenty of time to get themselves into post plants. They smoke back off the library rotation spot, which obviously would be the first guess as to where these 2 are going to be moving back in from. But they decided to just kind of wait it out, both Adrian and Hobbit. Play the time down a little bit here, and they're willing to do that. At least one of them has a kit. They're already back up on the platform behind the bomb. This is the one issue for the Immortals right now, is they didn't really secure that too well. FNX, though, taking out Adrian. Now leaves it on Hobbit, but Hobbit makes a move, gets into the open, and picks up the last 2 kills, and goes right for it to keep Gambit in a strong position to lead. Now going to go up all the way to 8-1.
Yeah, I think that was a really important round for Immortals to win. FNX not realizing that he pushed all the way to his left. Maybe he thought the pit player was covering him. Just gets shot in the back. And then bringing it into that 1v1.
Now, finally, the brute forcing here through mid does, or the attempts that they've made to do it out balcony as well, it does finally kind of work out for them to get site control. But once again, Hobbit shows up just like he did on the last round, back over on Banana there, and saves his team, allowing them to keep this lead in as strong of a position as it already is.
I love what Gambit's doing, though, when they just check alt mid on these rounds where they know there's nobody really, you know, probably watching it with an op or even an AK. They just jump across boiler, and, you know, they saw that they were coming alt very quickly. Like, they had a read that it was going to just be a fast, bursty strat on A. Probably should have won that round easier than they did.
Yeah. Overall, Gambit has been, you know, way more aggressive as a CT and peeking out towards A than like any other team we've seen in recent memory. As they, you know, constantly on anti-eco rounds, we have Zeus that just goes out mid and wants to take these battles here to end the rounds a little bit quicker. And then, like you mentioned there too, Doja wanted to go for peaks and try to get intel early on. We don't normally see that as much anymore since they changed out the map a little bit. It's so easier for the Tees to kind of swarm Hall's control. Adrian going to try to get aggressive, but Bolts had already gone through, got in a position inside of that little cubby there. Henny thankfully trades back this kill after Hobbit comes in to support Adrian, and allows for Immortals to still hold the advantage in that trade, bringing it to a 4v3.
Yeah, Henny getting another kill through the smoke, so that's twice now just on T-ramp, killing people through the smoke at B. And now this 3v4 from Gambit. I don't know, I kind of like this by Zeus. He smokes off the half wall, he goes towards A. If Immortals hits A within the next, you know, 10, 12 seconds, he'll be there. Still has the option to go back to B late if he wants. But just a calculated risk. And at this point, you take a risk like this, you win a round like this, it just puts you in just that much more of a lead. And you can afford to give up the B site, because if you lose that round, maybe get exits and just save your guns.
Well, now we do have Immortals moving back in through the mid choke point to deploy outside. Doja holding back on as well. Smokey is going to get in the way of this take a little bit, but Mo hitting that first shot. Now Doja can deploy, not have to worry about pressure working his way onto him. Only 5 seconds remain, and he completely detached from this situation as the 3 players on Gambit do try to look for him, but they're not going to find him. Timer's going to run out, and he's looking to save as Gambit picks up yet another round.
Yeah, if you take a risk like that in a 4v4, I don't think it's warranted, but in a 3v4 like that, I think it's a smart idea. And I guarantee you, I believe it was Steel that died to Zeus is saying, why is this guy there? They just completely gave up B. And it also made, I believe it was, I'm not sure if it was Bolts or whoever was the last player alive that saved their gun, completely out of the play, because he was trying to sell a fake, maybe, you know, at B, send an early rotate. He was around there. He was hovering around there for that reason, to keep a player there. And, you know, just have like a 3v2 at the other site.
It was Henny that was actually defending Banana early on in the round and then actually stuck there when the rest of the players that had already taken like Hall's control and whatnot and were up alt mid were ready to execute. With the time getting low as well, that was another issue they had to worry about, was letting him regroup. So,
but it's a really nice calculated risk from Gambit, because what a lot of the time will happen is, you know, if they go A, yeah, you have a much better chance of winning the round. But if they do go B, you're at a point where you could save your guns, maybe get exits, and then reset them again. And then all of a sudden you're going to win like 12, 13 rounds in that half.
So pause has been called now by the Immortals, as you can very well see. We're already about halfway through it here as they are trying to discuss how exactly they can fix these issues. They're not letting Gambit necessarily run away with these rounds either. The money for Gambit hasn't gotten up to like a huge point. For most of the time, most part actually, they are sitting at relatively low numbers. Hobbit, Adrian, Zeus, all around 3K or less in some cases. Whereas some of the others have a bit more, you know, Doja's at 7K, Mo's at 5.4. But these aren't like huge numbers. These can be broken within just 2 or 3 rounds. And that could allow for Immortals to kind of bounce back, but they've been failing on closing out in these situations. The 2v2s, the site retakes that we constantly see from Gambit are so clean and so well executed, they are constantly able to just win it out, along with the huge individual plays. Specifically in the last 2 or 3 rounds, we've seen some great stuff from Hobbit on rounds back to back.
Yeah, but Gambit, I don't know, the way they're playing right now is just really, really intelligent and smart, to be honest. Just a lot of these little advantages that they're giving themselves, especially with like the alt mid jumping, you know, just seeing early info like that, gives them a lot of information.
Mo this time is going to be trying to move forward a little bit here, and we can see the guys on Immortals also pushing themselves forward. In fact, they do find Mo with it. Now Zeus will try to challenge over here towards Boiler, but he's way too far in the open to contest against 2 different players. Now it falls to just Doja, but he's going to be caught with a nade in hand right after he tosses one out. That's clean site control for the Immortals, catching 3 players back to back to back, all kind of out of position or not ready to take a fight.
Yeah, they come out of the timeout swinging. So they're going to win this round, and it'll be 9-2. If I'm Gambit here, I'm probably just saving, of course, but I don't know if I even look for aggressive exits right now. You actually don't have that much money. I mean, it's 9-1. You think you're going to be able to buy 3 rounds in a row, but if they can kill Hobbit and Adren, I think Gambit's just going to be on a 1-round swing, or they're going to be broken if they lose the following.
Seems like they are just kind of going to stick in Library in the Archer's position, although Hobbit getting a little bit more explorative with it now. Moving back in, he'll definitely check the other side here, but FNX ready for that one, holds on to his situation and drops another gun here, so only Adrian is going to end up surviving the encounter. Won't get a chance to actually pick up any members of the Immortals. They've all fallen back through mid, and all 5 will stay alive out of that round.
Yeah, 3 initial entries. All at the A site, right? Very disconnected kills as well. Nobody on the CT side able to get trades or anything like that. And Immortals just steamrolls that round.
Well, now we're going into the round that could very well break Gambit here and allow for Immortals to swing up towards like a 9-6 potential scoreline. If they can actually keep things rolling here, it is going to be right now, as Gambit have bought into it, and quite a few of their players are going to be broke because of these buys. Wanting to once again try and test his luck with aggressive pressure, or actually I should say for the first time wanting to test his luck with aggressive pressure out from B as he tries to put himself on Banana this time, but it's not going to play out because of smokes. However, he will reinitiate into this site. Right now just kind of hanging by CT though. So we'll see in a few moments if he actually decides to go all the way out or if he's actually even going to stick here instead of doing what he normally does, which is defend around towards Rap side or hang out by Library over here on the A site.
And Immortals just smokes off the car to counter any aggression from Gambit. They wanted to get aggro there. They had 3 players there. They put their opera there. They wanted to take some sort of map control. But instead, they're just going to fall back. They're going to boost in spawn. And then we'll see where the other player goes. Looks like he's going to play, Spindle or site side.
Yeah, that'll be Mo going back over here behind the crypts. So
Yeah, but Gambit's changing up their setup. They're taking good calculated risks. They're making good reads.
Flashbangs from Immortals are great though. Look at this. They're going to move in. They're not even able to respond to the first 5 players move in. Hobbit catches the first kill. Mo going to find his second one, but he overswings to the left and trying to pick up a second personal kill. So he goes down to Bolts. Now leaves us into a 3v3. Quick rotate from Adrian, but also quick shots coming out from Bolts as he just pushes forward over towards the church. Takes out one of the last members alive for Gambit and is going to give Doja and Zeus no choice but to fall back and save and let Immortals pick up their 3rd round now.
Yeah, really fast take by Immortals. I mean, they get mollied, they run through it. It doesn't matter. If I'm Gambit there though, and I'm Mo, I might want to play more of a retake setup actually. I think when you have someone boosted, he gets that kill, he falls down, he's at the coffins, maybe gets one, stays alive, you maintain construction control, you put it into a 3v5. Instead he opts to try to hold near that triple area, which I don't think is nearly as effective anymore. I do not like playing there at all. It's a lot smaller. It's easier for people to collapse on you. You're not able to wide peek nearly as much if you have a rifle because you don't gain that velocity right away. There's no cracked in order to get info like there was before. Just not nearly as effective as a spot. That's why a lot of people now are opting towards emo when they op.
So now this is going to, like I said before, it is going to end up breaking Gambit as they go down onto just P250 and CZ buys for everybody that died in the last round. Obviously, Game 4s that still remain in play are going to carry over into the next round here, but other than that, it's going to be pretty lightly invested here, which gives Immortals that potential to swing back in, even out the score then a little bit, and not make this match seem as desperate as it was appearing just 2 rounds ago now. They're going to go trying to boost up a few players here. One of them having the rifle in hand too, so should Immortals go back to the A play, they'll have to deal with a much more significant setup. They've taken Hall's control, but this is still just kind of their default, as they've also got 2 pushing a banana. No decisions have been made yet in the T camp as to whether they're actually going to proceed forward with B or A take, so running down the timer. And we've already seen too many rounds where Immortals have been willing to bring the timer down to about 30 seconds or less before they even start to line up for the take. So you can definitely expect to see a little bit of experimentation with the sights before they actually decide to move in. We're going to see that right now with Bolts. Scraping all the way up through Banana. Has a position, obviously gets stopped by this Molotov, but catches Doza jumping back up there. So he'll be able to take him out. An early first kill. He also just saw the first Oranges guy jump back down below the box. There'll be a smoke in the way, but he'll still want to push on it. And back on A, they're making progress too. Henny trades after Hobbit does push forward and trade on the Bolts, but that's not going to matter that much, as you only have Mo here to defend. He's only got a P250. Brings down Lucas to 26. You know, obviously not a huge chance to just Adrian, and again, he's going to be saving. And even in saving, he's going to run directly into Henny, trying to fall out of the site, who will execute, giving the Immortals their 4th.
Yeah, and Immortals plays the, you know, essentially anti-eco. I mean, it's a little bit of a broken buy, right? You still have 2 guns. But they play it by doing like a double scout play almost. And SK has been doing that on Inferno as well. So maybe they took it from them, I'm not sure. But you essentially have 2 people working B, 1 guy goes in, and then you have 2 people working middle. And if you run into a stack, obviously you could just run to the other site. But if not, you know, and they play like that, you could just get kills at both sites like we just saw.
And Adrian is going to waste no time again going back to his own aggressive tendencies here. Out aggressively behind the logs, spraying into some early damage on Henny, but doesn't actually get anyone from the Immortals peeking through that. And last time he stayed here, he did get opshotted through the smoke. So this time he falls back a lot quicker and gets him into a much more normal position behind the half wall, working with his teammate.
Yeah, I like this a lot from Gambit, though. Immortals isn't pressuring B that much at the start of the round. They're just kind of smoking off the car. And if you do push it, they usually don't challenge. It's just been Henny spamming through the smoke. I know he's gotten 2 kills, but that's not really something that you could rely on, is someone just spamming through the smoke like that, you know, in order to stop people from taking B as CT. So if you can get banana control like they are now all of a sudden they have a lot of win conditions if you're Gambit.
Yeah, and Hobbit still holds the aggressive B control for the time being, which means Zeus can like halfway rotate. They're not fully confident in the fact that they have this control of B, as Hobbit still has to keep close eyes on it in the event they swing back. So Zeus is not going to fully rotate into A just yet and be that 4th man. He is staying just outside of Arches, so he's like a second away from being in the site, and now he does fully commit to it, since the smokes on Rap side are starting to fade away, and that's more than likely when they would push through. But at the same time, we have 3 more players trying to push their way through the mid choke point. Flashbang still being tossed back out and holding back the banana players. The bomb and the last second split decision is going to move itself over here towards the middle area, where FNX has picked up the first kill this time against Zeus, but reinforcements are going to be moving their way out from Adrian. Quick trade from Lucas, though. They realize that kill went up on the kill feed that quickly as he takes down Adrian. Doja battling it back, but doesn't survive for very long inside, as not only do they take him out, but Henny is able to isolate Mo and eliminate him. Hobbit is going to wrap back in. He's got himself down to a 1v2 as he picks up a quick kill in mid, and he's wasting no time going through to the site. But going in this route over on Porch, he's going to have himself a cross spray angle to work against. One up inside of the long haul, and another one waiting for him within the site. Takes it nice and slow just to try and clear out, make sure there's no one waiting for him in pit. But ultimately, he's got to get this first kill on site and then swing around 180 degrees to find the second one. As he moves in very, very cautiously here. Hops up, but doesn't realize that Henny was waiting for him right out in the open. So there you go. He gets the shutdown, and another one goes up onto the board for the Immortals.
Yeah, Immortals, they actually took mid control with FNX, and then they backed out and completely re-exec'd on it. So that was really interesting. Maybe their strategy there could be like this. Like the thought process could be, okay, we take mid control, then we fall off because FNX was already, had brackets control. After we fall off, they might re-aggress mid off that B control, and then when they don't see anybody, they might send like 3 towards B. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but I think that's the thought process behind it.
So early on again, we've got the same style of play coming out from Gambit now. As Hobbit is able to push forward, get himself right up against the aggressive CT smoke, and Adrian hanging back, he's able to redeploy that smoke in a moment. Look at this from Zeus, though, back down to the shotgun. He's going to be in the halls this time. It's not often you see CTs directly contesting halls pressure, but Immortals have been very consistent on trying to go in through the window and take it for themselves. The one thing that's going to kill him would be pressure from the steps, but he doesn't get it early on, and he's got a teammate to support. He gets that first kill, but unfortunately for him, goes down to steal just seconds later, overall giving the Immortals a much higher edge here. Oh, and nicely found from Adren, too. Just walks by and finds bolts. But that one also going to get quickly traded back out as Mo, excuse me, moving back in now to push forward. He's able to find FNX. Snipes in for a quick kill there before backing away over towards the wrap side. And now this is going to let Immortals get up onto the site and find the plant. Other two, as we see Hobbit kind of moving back out from his aggressive banana position. He is going to move up those steps and into the halls. While Mo just takes a much more normal route. Hobbit immediately going to get countered back out. And now for Mo, he'll make his best attempt at this one. But in moving back in, he will also get picked off very quickly by Steel. So Immortals solidify that 6th round. And in a very, very potent run at the end here, they take 5 rounds straight and make it an overall very even 6-9 half.
Yeah, and I think after that pause, they won those 5 rounds in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So after that pause, they kind of just grouped up together. They made sure that they were in position to trade kill every single time. I mean, it started out with that clean take at A, but then when they went back to B, it was like a 5-man take, very, very bursty. Similar to the strats that we saw success with on Train. They kind of kept that same mentality. I thought Gambit played a really good CT side, though. I think both teams are kind of happy with this half. They're, well, not necessarily happy, but they're feeling good about, winning this game.
The overall end result.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, both teams feel like they could take this game. But if Gambit does win this pistol, of course, on T and can manage to go up like 12-6, that's really tough to come back from. Especially on Inferno, where we're seeing, like, really mixed results on this map. Sometimes it's CT-sided, sometimes it's T-sided. It's one of those maps where, like I said before, I think it's slightly CT-sided, but, an 8-7, 9-6 half. Nothing crazy.
It's nothing like the old Inferno. Basically.
No, yeah. Absolutely not.
Well, now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to go into the second half here. Gambit with the lead, but Immortals sitting just a few rounds behind. The potential to come back and send this over to a third map is a very real possibility. So let's take a look and see if they're going to be able to do it. 3-2 split initially. They are going to have a much larger mass of players waiting on A this time, and Gambit doesn't seem to be just going for a straightforward commitment. We saw Immortals right from the beginning of the round wanted to try and pressure B, and we saw how quickly that got countered out by Gambit. This time, it's a little bit slower of a lineup, and Bolts is thankfully going to be able to pick up a first kill here, able to find Doja out, giving themselves a little bit of an advantage to play with early on in the pistol.
Drem with just the deagle, so he might want to walk lead somewhere. I'd be surprised if Glocker takes the initial contact.
FNX knows they're pushing out from mid-choke, just can't find a great position to headshot anyone out with his USP, so he's going to fall all the way back to Library. That's giving a lot of really control over to Gambit here now to allow them to sort of post up for an execute. They still obviously have to deal with him back by Library, but they're going to take him out relatively quickly. And now the story's Bolts, but he doesn't last too long either. Henny catching 1 kill, but he's only got a bullet left. He hits it, but doesn't get the kill. Mo picking up that frag. Lucas surprising from CT, though, as Hobbit got aggressive. Wanted to try and isolate the rotates, but ended up biting back. And now this evens us back out into a 2v2. One of the T's, as you already mentioned, Adrian having himself the deagle, though, and that's going to be a very powerful gun. He can immediately just take out Steel if he decides to wrap back in, but he switches over and instead decides to watch towards Library. Lucas finding Mo and Adrian trying to clutch this, but he gets pressured from both sides, and that's where Steel's going to impact. Now Immortals have their chance to tie this back up and bring us to a 9-9 scoreline.
Yeah, Dren opting for the deagle on that T-side pistol. We see him do it often, and it's a different look that a lot of the time you're not ready for on that CT side. You tend to post up on angles. Sometimes you can get him with that, you know, just quick one-shot peeker's advantage type stuff if you're a Dren there. And look at Gambit. They're going to aggressively buy right now.
Yeah, their potential lead is on the line here, so this is actually going to be the first bout of which we've seen of this, and I think in the entire set so far, where they've really tried to get aggressive with this. Actually, no, we did see a little bit of aggressive buying too back over on the first map, if I recall correctly, when they finally kind of lost their economy back on Train. But for right now, just grouping up on Banana to move up there.
And you know what I think they'll do? I think if they lose this round, they'll actually Tech 9 armor again and have Doja buy an AK.
Well, we'll see how that follows through on the next round, assuming they lose it, of course, but...
Assuming, but I'm not assuming that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, we have Gambit moving their way in pretty quickly here now for the take. Lucas actually sprays a lot and whiffs a whole lot more on the second attempt at it. Both Mo and Zeus going to roll right through, and that's a goodbye to Lucas and Henny. Now only 3 remaining here for the CTs. Quick rotates, granted, they're all already here. The problem is going to be, though, is that they don't actually have anybody pushing in from Banana or anything like that. It's all either going in from CT or the church position, so they're all set up for this site. The good news is that a lot of Gambit's players are still working with just measly little pistols here. Bolts able to move in, finding Mo. Steel going for a bit of a systematic clear out, but Zeus finding one more kill from it inside of that emo position. Now forced back out because of a Molotov here, but continuing to battle against these moving pistols is not going to play out. Only FNX alive, and he's even been cornered, caught mid-reload, forced into a corner, and Hobbit leaping into the doorway finds that final kill. Gambit trade is back, and now we'll go 10-7.
Yeah, just crazy aggressive buying from Gambit. I'm telling you, even if they lost that round, I think they would have bought again. Doja with AK armor, the other guys with Tech 9s. But that miss-spawn Molotov really shaped up that round. You know, they're planning on that Molotov delaying them. They're running through it. They can't stop. And, you know, obviously, one shot, they slow down. They take so much damage from it. But it's a botched molly, and that's really all it takes on a B-take to mess up that round for Immortals.
Yeah, so Immortals are going to end up again on their own force buy here now, as they do need to try and keep this game close. They can't let Gambit get up to a potential like 13-7 scoreline or something like that before they're even given a real chance to get back into the game. So they have to try and fight back. They can't let Gambit have that advantage for a second time in this map, and it's a good thing that they do too. Steel gets himself a nice close lineup, promptly smokes back off this side, and now Bolts can leap into action from the porch into this one. Good opener on Doja, knocks at about 50 of his HP. Mo also got hit for about half of his health as well, so he's gonna be down at 49. Mo gets a good nade though, eliminates Steel. Doja follows through with 1 kill, but then Bolts can spring back there, finding Doja and bringing this back down to a 3v3. A pressure is just too much for the T's right now, so they're gonna try to take it over to B instead. And it's a good thing too, is in that moment with all that A pressure, Lucas did for a moment rotate back, so the site is going to be a little bit weak, only having Henny to defend it. Up on top of second orange is there. Hobbit moves in, immediately takes out Henny, and there's not enough position at the moment here for Lucas to get himself back, and he's even going to get smoked back out, and when he tries to force it, well, there's Hobbit again, picking up another important kill here. Bolt's last man standing, hits the first kill as he tries to move back in, but wastes no time sounding the alarms here so that Gambit can get into position, and Zeus can hit that final kill.
Great crossfire by Gambit at the end there. Really no chance for Bolts to, you know, 2v1 there when both players are just peeking right next to each other. Well, not necessarily next to each other, but, you know, crossfire like that.
Yeah. So now we end up in the full save situation here for the Immortals, as they'll need to focus this up for the next round. Just going to be buying, I think, a single P250, and that is it. So in theory, easy closeout for Gambit, and pretty sure they realize it, as they've gone for 3 Mac 10s in this round. We're going to be going for a bit of an early split here as well. Just taking that nice Hall's control, and actually just going to continue forward too. Doja, no problem holding on to that one. FNX, Bolts, and now just flipping onto Steel there too. Executing all these players one by one. Another leaping shot from Hobbit to take out Lucas. So Henny, not really a whole lot that he could have done to help this situation, but he is going to end up kind of hanging out back over by the exit to library here and hope that someone just gets a little bit too cross-eyed here and moves out without checking this corner. But Doja's going to do it, and he succeeds in picking up what I believe was a 4th kill, actually, as he ends up overall with a nice little 4K there.
Yeah, and this is tough because they have 3 Mac 10s, so you're going to want to get head armor here. But your buy is so low that look how many nades they have. I mean, we got 3 smokes, an HE grenade, and 2 flashes. That's it. But that's the risk. That's the sacrifice you have to make when they buy those SMGs, because, you know, Gambit, from what we've seen, such aggressive buying, we know they're probably going to keep them. Like, they value the economy so much.
Yeah, and they're definitely keeping all three of those MAC 10s going into this round now as they split up just a 3-2. 2 holding a crossroads, 3 going directly up through alt to move into the halls again. And they're probably going to take it just as quickly as well. Maybe obviously a little bit slower pace to watch these corners and whatnot, but they still have that gun. They still have those MAC 10s, and those are very, very mobile weapons, which can surprise in pushing outside. So all 3 in the halls, ready to deploy at a moment's notice here. They don't have the other 2 with them just yet, but they are wrapping in pretty quickly here. FNX trying to hold, can't actually get the full kill, and Doja took out his teammate a second go here again. FNX still not able to find anything. Steel's going to have a little bit of better luck back at the mid-choke point, but he'll get double pushed by Adrian, along with another one of the players from Gambit, and that just pretty much sets up Gambit for full success on this one, as Henny and Lucas are way back over on B. They are not given any time to react to that, and they're just going to sit in the site and save.
Yeah, and the MAC 10s, I mean, FNX is dodging a flashbang. While he's dodging the flashbang, they jump out halls and flank his teammate into porch. As he peeks up, the MAC 10ers are already out, and the player with the AK is holding him there. So even though he's able to, you know, do some damage, I mean, it just worked perfectly. Like, Gambit is really impressive right now with just their strategy as a whole. I mean, they're taking every advantage possible that they can throughout the map. They knew they could push B on CT side. They were doing that. They were checking alt mid whenever they knew it was a, you know, a low buy, knowing that that guy's not going to die. They were switching up their setup from aggro mid to passive at the right times. Gambit just, I mean, they're playing really, really well right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and they seem to be unstoppable, as they're just 3 rounds away now from being the DreamHack ASTRO Open Austin champions here now. For the Immortals, they're going to be able to buy into this one, but with just a few UMPs and a couple M4s, I mean, it's full utility. It's basically as fully bought as they can afford while still getting decent utility and having the saves from the previous round now. As Gambit also still going to be working with, at this point, as you can see on Hobbit, just another MAC 10 here. So I think that they were expecting maybe a little bit of a lower buy as they did it to fully reinvest him, and that could prove slightly problematic. Lucas getting a nice boost up on half wall, almost catches that first kill, but not going to work out. In fact, he takes a bit of damage back earlier on there, and he's now down at about 55 HP. Still no real progress being made by Gambit just yet, though. Kind of just posturing up to take small amounts of control, and they're going to do that again back over here by the old car position, up banana. Only trying to throw a real fake, though, so they can get Hobbit in position to do that, as the rest of the team, once again, is going to be prone to waltz all over the map as they now fall back and head over here towards the mid-choke instead. As they've already got, I believe it's Doja sitting inside of Boiler, holding that sort of advanced position and being able to push back out in a moment. CT is going to preemptively just smoke that and prevent them from being able to quickly go for their execute, as they've kind of been allowed to in these last few rounds. FNX gets aggressive here too, finally stops out a lot of that balcony pressure that's really been messing up this A defense, and Steel watches the mid-choke point there, tries to catch some of these guys falling back, and that's what they're going to do, so the B players should be relatively ready for this one. And the other 2s that are still on A for these Ts right now, they're kind of stuck. I mean, I imagine Zeus is going to make a play for Arches, but in low HP, assuming that Steel's actually in a position to put a stop to that, it's really not going to work out so well, so kind of curious to see how this is going to work, as they do end up going for B at the end of the day here. Henny, oh my goodness! Just gets leaping headshot by Hobbit, and then he spins around to kill Lucas as well. How did that even happen?
Are you kidding me?
That just won the round.
This guy.
The jumping MAC 10
But
against the guy that's...
they've been listening. We get the dedicated SMG player.
It's not the umper necessarily, but okay.
MAC 10's pretty good, though. They get the dedicated SMGer. All right. What did he do? I don't think either of those players had head armor.
Apparently not. They both go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's absurd, though. You got to be pretty pissed if you're Immortals there.
It's
He's
just
in the air.
nothing you could have done about that. Like,
no, you really can't. He just makes the read that he's boosted up there. And to be honest, I mean, they're not even expecting Hobbit to really get a kill. They're just using him. Like, the reason he's jumping there is just so that it takes longer for them to kill him, and it's an easier trade kill. You see a lot of teams do that. When you go down 4v5 on that T side, so many teams go back to B for that reason, because you could trade kill and put it into a 2v3 pretty easily.
Now we're going to see it from his perspective. We can get a better look at it here. Oh.
Just standard. No, I think Lucas did have head armor, actually.
Yeah, he got dinged first off, so. But now that's going to be very unfortunate for the Immortals. At least they get themselves a little bit of a better buy this time, once again, as we are going to go into what could be one of the very last full investments from the Immortals. Mo and some of the others going to be hanging out back over here towards mid and still trying to throw a bit of pressure up Banana too, but that's going to be problematic as trying to test it. Henny lines himself up for a double kill, taking out both Zeus and Hobbit right at the beginning and within the first like 15 seconds of this round.
Yeah, both through the smoke as well. How many kills does he have right now? Because that's his 4th kill through the smoke.
He's sitting at a casual 14 right now. So, but a little bit more than just those kills. But now Gambit gonna have to work against this disadvantage here with the 5v3 set against them. Steel still having himself a little bit of an angle to see through in this smoke too, but Bolt's taking maybe too early of a battle there. That's gonna give him away. Steel pushing through, can only get one. A 2-for-1 trade leaves just FNX alive on this site, but those B players are gonna move into flank very, very quickly. Adrian and Doja don't have the luxury of a sort of slow lurk to get into positions to pinch on whoever the A player is. As the second they kill them, they're probably going to have to deal with more pressure from the other site. And thankfully, Gambit gets this kill quickly against FNX. It's a Dren back over here up on top on the balcony that finds it initially on contact. He's going to be down at 19 HP, however, and he spots Lucas early on, actually catches him. Still trying to push over towards the hay barrels there. And now Henny going to work in. In theory, he should be able to get a pretty easy trade onto Adrian, but actually catches Doja first, and then he already knew where Adrian was, so he's able to finish off the job. Nicely played by Henny, and he saves the round with a massive 4K.
Yeah, but you know, when it's 3v5 like that and you're Immortals, you really need to win that round clean. That hurts the economy so much. I mean, the FNX is going to be down to a max 7, Lucas down to a FAMAS, but for their saving grace, they do have Henny on the op now. 4K that round, he's feeling it, he's going to go B, he's going to be aggressive, and he's going to really try to make it easier on his teammates by making it 4v5.
Still full buy for Gambit here now. And also a bit of a downgrade having to come in for some of these Immortals players. As you were mentioning, a hurt economy. FNX is going to be working with a mag 7. Amongst other issues that they'll have to deal with, like Lucas having no utility. Still evenly spread though. They're not trying to take a gamble on anything just yet. Just a casual 3-2 split across the map. And some aggression early on from Henny, but he very quickly moves it back onto the site where he's going to play by Nubox instead. So Gambit, while they may still use some of their utility, they're going to have a very easy time basically getting old car position for free.
Yeah, Henny had a chance to get a kill past that Molotov, but it's just such a difficult shot. You know, when you're opping behind a molly like that. And now Gambit, it looks like they're going to want to do some type of a B exec like really early on in this round.
Already ready, as you can see there, to set up smokes and whatnot onto the site. So Lucas and Henny are going to have a whole lot of work cut out for them, and Henny getting flashed right into his face is not going to be the best way to start off that situation. Moving over towards it now, given plenty of time to recover. Hits the first kill. Lucas into the open with a double. Mo and Hobbit able to trade that back, however, but it's still a 2v3 disadvantage to Gambit, and they'll have to hold this. Hobbit getting aggressive and pushing into the church. He's able to find Steel, evening out those numbers. And mind you, one of the 2 remaining CTs does only have a mag 7, and he doesn't have a much better pistol sitting in a secondary slot either. FNX really is only going to be able to use that USP working back in from Banana right now, unless he can get close up, which is not going to happen. Oh, he actually makes it work. Finding an AK on the ground, trades over to that, and eliminates Mo with it. Now it's up to Hobbit, but he's not going to survive either. So FNX trading the gun, saves the round, and again, keeps Immortals in this match.
And Immortals winning all these clutch rounds, you know, back-to-back situations where it's a post-plant. FNX pretty fortunate that he was able to get that kill on Mo. I mean, he gets tagged through the wall. Mo with a pretty poor peek, honestly, on that re-peek. Thought he was going to get that kill.
He tagged him first time, so I think that's why he wanted to go for it to finish the job.
Yeah, but he was just kind of sliding out really slow. Better way to peek that spindle is usually from the back of it, and then you swing out from the back of it. Your head's really hard to hit there, and you kind of take advantage of the wide peek mechanics.
Well, still evenly bought between these two teams. However, Gambit is going to be running a little bit low on cash flow after this round. We might see the full buy still, but it is going to be one of their last full buys, and that's what's really going to let Immortals try to get back into this game. Keep in mind, they can still potentially just upset right here, make this 16-14. We wouldn't even have to deal with overtime, as they're starting to look a little bit better, a little bit more consistent here now, and it's not just Gambit stomping in these situations anymore. Immortals are coming back from scenarios where you think that they would just outright lose or call for saves, but not necessarily the case, as Gambit is struggling a little bit to close out on some of these rounds that could very well end the game for them.
Yeah, but Immortals has wasted all their utility just to delay them, and they still have 2 towards B.
And now Gambit is going to start to push in through both mid-choke and out on the balcony. FNX ready for that. He gets hit with a flashbang. Bolts, thankfully, finishes the job, saves FNX's life. There's still another flashbang out in the open, and so far only Zeus able to impact. FNX now really kicking it into gear here as well, and then Lucas picks up the double to end it.
Yeah, Lucas giving Gambit a bit of a taste of their own medicine there. There's 0 pressure on B. As soon as that A exec happened, he full W'd out from Banana. He almost caught somebody as they were going up porch as well, but he's able to finish off that round. But Immortals, I mean, they're wasting all their utility so early on, and Gambit just goes back-to-back straight executes. And even though they do have a lack of utility there, you know, they hold it very, very well.
Yeah, and thanks to that, now they will force the pause from Gambit, who are going to take a bit of a timeout here to think about things and see what the strat is going to be. Really, again, like I've said, they only really need 1 or now 2 gun rounds, since Immortals have built up a little bit of cash to be able to win out this, not only this map, but also this series and lastly this tournament.
Yeah, and that's the first round that Immortals has really won cleanly, though. Every round's really tightly contested. The last 2 ones that Immortal won were coming down to, you know, 2v2 post-plant situation in 1 after it was a 4v2, and then the 2v3 coming down to the 2v2 as well. So Gambit is going to be able to get another bye here, though. Hobbit's playing pretty insane right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, besides the jumping Mac 10, his capability just to pick up these kills. I mean, we saw it the round after, I think, is where he secures the B site for his team, as that we had one of the members of Immortals wrapping in pretty quickly. Was probably going to try to push the smoke possibly and stop that B plant from ever happening 2 rounds back. But he goes in, makes the move in church, and just gets aggressively into a position to take them out before they can get into a spot to give an early stop to that take of the B site.
Yeah, he's having a nice T side, and even going back on that CT side, a lot of the time Henny was killing somebody through the smoke at B those 2 rounds, and he would even it up, being pretty aggressive towards B as well whenever they pushed and getting a lot of info. So Gambit a bit more just not much contest, you know, not contesting much at B right now. 3 guys were just T steps, maybe anticipating some type of a B push or something like that. But yeah, with Immortals having this B control, this is a huge, like a really powerful tool that they have that they could leverage into round wins.
Yeah, and immediately you're going to see the effect of that too. With Lucas going back, but not going to, actually I thought he was going to go for the full rotate over towards A, but apparently not just yet. He's still kind of hanging back, and now we'll see that in a moment more than likely, as they're still just kind of falling back and changing up positions. Flashbang against Henny, send him back into the site, but they're both just sticking around here, so still you have your basic 3 on the site here to defend, while Gambit is starting to move in and is starting to take that bit of control of the mid-choke point. Struggling with it a little bit though, as we can see Adrian down at 26 HP, taking that first battle outside of Boiler. The rest of the team kind of just waiting this one out too. You've got Mo still back by the mid-choke point. Zeus is ready to push Rap side, but he's got to be careful of Cubby, and when he comes around the corner, Library, Steel is alive here and is ready to check this out when they do move in. More than likely ready to put it back down as well with his AK if needed. But he'll be out of utility, and again, that's pretty much the story across the board for the Immortals. Everyone out of utility. So Gambit are going to have free reign after the current smokes fade away for them to push wherever they would like. A last-second change-up in the strat, though, sends players back, but hold on, it's getting reversed now. Mo seemed like he was going to go up Banana, but then changed his mind at the last second, and now it's currently just Hobbit doing it solo. The good news is, though, is that this will hold off not only Henny and Lucas, but potentially more. And as they do move in, Steel, Henny, and Bolt's able to hold off the site for right now in less than 10 seconds to plant the bomb. Bolt's very low. He is going to get eliminated, but Steel wrapping back in. They're prioritizing the plant. The problem for Mo is, though, he's got a 1v3 set against him, and Steel takes the aggressive position to finish it off without even having to wait for the rotates.
I'm honestly pretty surprised that Immortals is winning these rounds so cleanly. I mean, no utility. They're using all their utility within 50 seconds of the round there. They're winning these rounds without even throwing any nades. Zeus gets spotted by the player in sight going towards Library, so he's an easy kill. And it's surprising to me, though. I'm favoring Gambit in all these late round situations just because, you know, if I'm a T and the rounds come down to me using 2 smokes and a flashbang or something, and you never throwing a counter nade, like, I'm fine with that, you know? I want that. That's what I want. And especially if you're not overstacking a site. But for whatever reason, Gambit's not able to capitalize on any of these opportunities.
Gambit are just going to, once again, spread their players out at the beginning of the round, not making any early decisive choices about taking this close to the site or anything. Now, they weren't smoked out this time on Banana, so they are allowed to actually push back through it. Problem is Henny is back on fire this map, and he is going to be consistent about hitting these shots to players that try to just directly push him at the half wall. This time, it's going to end up being Mo that goes down. Bolt's taking another battle at Boiler. He's been really good here as well. And now it's Adrian falling out, so another 5v3 that Gambit have to try and work back through. Doja may have had an opportunity there to find a player on the left, but didn't want to fully commit to that situation, so they just end up spotting each other in the CTs to play. Quite a bit of utility to try and hold back the rest of Gambit. Now Hobbit with the op in hand, trying to make a play to take out the player over here towards Crips. Flash is going to hit him, tries for the timing shot, but not going to be boosted up there, so no success for Hobbit. And then the rest of the team now, the other 2 I should say, trying to push their way in still through A, and Hobbit's going to be joining them in a second too. Steel here to defend on Rap side, where we do have Zeus pushing up for control. Already out though, and Steel may have not noticed that just as of yet. He is holding in the door, but this is a bit of an aggressive peek if he goes for it now. So he does hold back. The time that he waits, though, the smoke will get deployed out by the T's, and this will force him over towards Arches, where he's another teammate waiting for him. Now they go in, trying to make their entries happen. FNX able to trade one back, and this second one onto Hobbit. Just going to be Doja left alive. Able to catch that trade into the pit, but he's got to catch another one on the site in a second. Goes for it, but can't make it happen. Steel once again shuts down the round for the Immortals, as they're just within 2 rounds of tying this up now.
And Immortals just locking it down on the CT side. If you're wondering why that was such an easy kill for Henny to get, instead of being at the very corner of it, he goes in a little bit of an off angle. And when you're in that off angle, that player that peeks you at logs, because you're a little bit to the left, you're going to see his arm before he sees you. And that's why it makes it so easy for him to get that opening kill on the mount.
And now Gambit are going to be on just Tech 9s and Deagles. Half buy at the very least. They do get armor behind it along with a few smokes, but definitely looking at a broken money situation for them as they need to focus up for the next round where they would potentially lose the lead to the Immortals here. As Immortals just taking it nice and passively this time, not even pushing out towards Banana once more, just holding their players back. And the smoke that was thrown out, actually, Steel is able to slightly spot through it. He can't see a whole lot, but he could definitely lock onto maybe a few players' legs, something like that. So there is going to be another one that's tossed back out to re-smoke that back off. Try to isolate more pressure. Steel, though, seems to be keen on possibly challenging this in a second as the smoke starts to fade away, but no, even just moves further past that one. Is going to catch Zeus, completely unawares of this situation. Falls back after that one, where we're going to see both Adrian and Doja picking up entry kills, just falling out into the pit. Oh, and Doja hitting another one as well to take down Steel when he wraps back around. This is a great setup in a 4v2, and I don't even know if Henny and Lucas are going to go for this now. They're moving towards the site, but I can imagine that they'll slow down when they get out past Arches here, and that's where the real decision is going to have to be made, if they go for it or if they do just fall back and save or try to line up for exits. It is looking like they may actually try and challenge it now. As Lucas waits at the corner, Molotov into the corner of the pit, but it's only going to force them up against like Graveyard. It's not actually going to get them into the open. Henny can't hit a shot either, and with them just making no progress on getting these guys into the open, it is time now to fall back and save those guns, as Gambit is going to pick up another round, and they're going up to tournament point.
Yeah, and just a very, very fast strat out Boiler, jumping out halls in Boiler. It's something you see time and time again on Inferno, especially with Tech 9s. It's really difficult to stop, especially when you're playing around Porch and Arch, because you don't have time to deploy your utility. If you're playing from site, a lot of time you can get that molly down, and maybe they have to stop, and you could send rotates, get flashbangs, and peek off that. But when you're fighting Porch and Arch like that and contesting it, they could just flood out and take direct gun battles.
Well, Gambit wasting no time getting their players up through alt, and we're going to slow down on mid here, so Steel not able to spot anything, but he's ready to take a battle right at the corner here. So he could end up dying potentially, or just hit this kill, but misses it. Thankfully able to evacuate pretty quickly, but he's going to get chased. And again, just barely escapes around the corner, trying to take another peek, and this is where he's finally going to hit this kill against Hobbit as well. Zeus now trading it back, and Doja ready to kill this Porch player too, so that his teammates can get back out. That's a clear of the site. They've got control now, but there's 2 more waiting in the wings to try and take this back. The real question is why hasn't Lucas started to rotate yet? He's still way over here in the B site when he's needed on A. And now we're finally going to start to see these players move back out. Steel catching one with his op, but Zeus swinging back in. Adrian burning out Henny. It's just going to be Lucas, and as I said before, he's way over on B. Such a long rotate. He's going to use about half the time on the bomb just to get over to the bomb site itself. So Gambit are in an excellent position just to close out the tournament right here, right now. But it's not done until that bomb explodes. So we'll see if Lucas can battle back in at all for control at the library, looking to swing back out. They're not actually going to be peeking for him. They're all just waiting for him to push into the site. He looks for players, but there's nobody there, and he's running at a time. When he looks away, though, that's when Mo peeks up, and it's going to be Gambit, ladies and gentlemen, that take the grand finals. They are your DreamHack ASTRO Open Austin champions as they win it out over Immortals 2-0.
Yeah, and Gambit, just strategically speaking, I mean, they played so good. Controlling the economy, even on so many of those T-side rounds, they really did have the advantage with how they were playing. I mean, they were hitting sites where they weren't running into stacks. Immortals didn't even have utility. I mean, they leveraged every advantage that they had possible in order to help them win these rounds. I think Inferno, they could have won a lot easier as well. And going back to Train, I mean, they played great on T side, just understanding that there was no off, so they abused that by going out upper inner. And just as a whole, I mean, that last play alone by Doja, realizing that FNX abandoned hulls and just went to porch to try to help steal, that was sick by him.
So there you have it, guys. That is going to be your DreamHack champions, Gambit. Their second DreamHack title, taking their first one last year at DreamHack Winter, and now they claim another one here in the States, here in Austin. It is going to be Gambit. Some really great stuff by them overall, and really unique style of plays. But we even saw that on Nuke a few days ago too, where they were able to play that very intelligently. But it does look like, ladies and gentlemen, that we have Paula ready on the stage for an interview. So let's throw it over to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, your DreamHack ASTRO Open champions, a Gambit. Well deserved, might I add. The relief on Mo's face says it all. Adrian, I know you're probably feeling quite emotional right now, but can I get any thoughts from you?
Feels good, man.
From second place at Summit, that's kind of been your storyline. You've now made it to a first place here. I think your last big trophy was DreamHack Winter last year, so it's been, you know, a few months. This must mean quite a bit to you.
It means a lot. We want to win all the DreamHacks that we attend.
There we go. Well, let's see if we can keep it going. I will leave the final words with you. Anything that you would like to say or add?
I want to thank my team for this trophy. I want to thank everyone who cheered for us. Thank you, guys. We feel your power, and we try to get another trophy in the future.
There we go. Thank you so much. Congratulations, commiserations to Immortals, of course. And now we will head back for one final segment with Alex and our analysts on the desk.
It must feel like a dream at DreamHack for Gambit. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but now they walk down the aisle in Austin and pick up a much-needed trophy. Parla said it, and we will reiterate. It's been a while since Gambit managed to lift the trophy, even here on the DreamHack Open Circuit. And Adrian says he wants to win every single one of them. They definitely have the hunger, and they managed to best Immortals in 2, which is quite a rarity given their track record so far. They like to go all the way, as have all teams here. We had 8 teams to start, but they go home with the king share of $100,000 and a little bit of bragging rights as well. Liquid, Cloud9, Hellraisers, Luminosity, G2, Immortals have all fallen, and Gambit do rise supreme. Fantastic game. Halvor, Vendetta, Gulistol, and for the last time as well, Eric, Adrian, Hogue joining me.
Yeah. I want to point out that I got every single BO3 100% correct.
And predictions are the only way to determine
that is actually
how good an analyst is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is
unless,
true.
Unless you start messing up.
Like 100%.
100%. 100% success rate. Looks like there's quite a lot of emotions on Gambit's camp, you know? I mean,
for Suze, this hasn't happened to him in quite some time. I mean, and now more than ever, it's kind of his team in many ways. I think this just kind of goes to show, you know, they put an immense amount of work in. Whenever you check, you know, the hours that these guys put in, whenever they've been boot camping, preparing for a tournament, Suze always has some mind-blowing numbers, like 160 hours over 2 weeks, et cetera. And not a lot of that is idle. So it's just, you know, obviously when you put that much effort and work into your craft and you succeed, that's obviously going to feel so much better.
And what I love as well is, I mean, there he is, the leader who stepped into Gambit's roster, and
it's well deserved.
He's revolutionized their gameplay, and now they stand lifting a trophy. Big feelings for Zeus, removed from the Na'Vi roster, a team that were always considered to be world champions, and now he's gone and done it, lifting a trophy with his new squad. Young blood, old blood combined to quite the intimidating force.
Yeah, speaking of young blood, Hobbit in this finals, especially on Inferno, just outstanding performance. He didn't have the greatest first map. Obviously, you know, Doja was the big standout there for Gambit, but Hobbit really came alive, especially on that T side of Inferno.
Mac 10.
Yeah, exactly. You know, kind of leading into the Youngblood part. A bit of a drive-by there going on. And
what happened? Like,
I don't understand. Like, both of them.
It doesn't make sense.
The guy inside had head armor, but it didn't seem like it. It was literally 2 bullets to the head, and that was just it.
Lucas just melted.
Yeah.
It's like holding an M4. He's invested like $5,000 into the round.
So ready to have
just doing like little 360s with a Mac 10.
Those are the hardest opponents to kill. Tech 9 and SMG just coming at you full speed.
Yeah, Tech 9 seems to be like a recurring issue, not just for obviously Immortals in this finals, but just throughout the tournament for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It seems like actually like winning pistols and stuff like that was not that beneficial. And you know what's turned it around really for Gambit at the end there when they were struggling to find rounds that Immortals were mounting you know better and better defense on their CT side was actually that Tech 9 push.
Yeah, and I think another takeaway is that, you know, we have sounded a little bit like a broken record regarding, you know, what Adren has brought to this roster. Please look at the stats. Perfect way to end that grand final. He was not the most core component. He was not the catalyst to success. He was certainly present. He was doing what he had to, but it was a team effort, coordinated, and even the X-Squad top of the scoreboard across the 2 maps they played. That is just what Gambit needed, I think.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. Obviously, you know, when Adren, the fact that they can win without Adren having it again.
Twice now. Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really like that. Check out their deaths, actually.
Yeah, that's
34,
pretty evenly shared right there.
Wow, rise together, die together.
They are true biker boys, aren't they?
34-35 split. No, but that's actually you really don't see that every day. Some stats guys creaming.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed just watching G2 across the entire event is that they're super good late round. In late round, like clutches, or anytime they're up in a scenario, up
Gambit,
in a 4v2, up in a 4v3, they're like always winning. It just seems like they never make a mistake when they're up a man, and when they are in, like, when they're down a man or they're in a clutch situation, they're always really good at, you know, just winning those rounds.
We found ourselves in the green room while watching that game, regularly asking the question: was that a 2vx or was that a 1v2? You know, like you're like, hang on a second, how did that? Why does it say Gambit have won this round? Like I looked away for a second because this was supposed to be Immortals, and I mean, we do have to address the Brazilians. A fantastic storyline for Gambit now, just managing to break that top 10. I don't think there's any argument now that you are going to be featured within the top 10 teams currently competing in Counter-Strike. Big win for them, considering their opponents competing here in Austin. And on the other side of that are Immortals. Sometimes tough for an analyst to place, hard to gauge, but a grand final finish for them. And what did we learn from their gameplay and their stint here in Austin over these 3 days, Halvor?
Again, you know, similar to what we saw from SK on their Inferno, can very easily be abused with their T side. It's not as refined. It definitely works versus teams who are not as well versed on the map, but you could see that, you know, they basically had zero presence in Banana for the better part of their T side, and obviously that's something that they need to work with because it was such a vital part of what they were doing all the way leading up to this finals. So they need to have something to fall back on for the better part of it, and not just have, you know, be a one-trick pony. But that's going to come with time. Overall, again, I was more surprised by how well they were able to play with Train, considering how that's a map that they haven't really dabbled too much with as of late. So I still there's a ton of positives really to take out of this for Immortals. I think way more positives than negatives, obviously, seeing how they do end up in a grand finals.
Grand finals for Immortals, not quite managing to raise their second trophy for the DreamHack Open Tour. We can now have a little look at those brackets. It's done. 3 days of Counter-Strike. You guys have been with us from day one, and this is how the groups did shape up. I mean, the likes of Heroic really did flex. We got to see what that Danish muscle was up to, a little check-in with them on their growth. Hellraisers as well. We call them the gatekeepers, and they couldn't quite handle Gambit. They were a force who thrust them into that lower bracket, and we got to see them fall then to that Danish muscle we mentioned earlier. And then into Group B, you know, it's a reminder that North America couldn't quite show up on home soil. They did have that crowd cheering, and a whole lot of hype was brought, but Liquid and Cloud9 were bested in the group of death. It was seen to be rather one-sided in the groups, but the right teams did win. We saw G2 fall short, the favorite for the tournament as well. It did have its certain twists and turns. And of course, where else would you expect a weird bracket than Austin? Immortals and Gambit, though, was our grand final, and what a game it was to end it. I thought we were going to have, you know, a full 9 maps today, but we got to shave it a little short thanks to Gambit.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed about that as well, because I think Cobble would have been a super good map to watch.
Really nice.
Yeah, but in the end, I guess Gambit would, you know, they wanted nothing of it. And to be fair, I think overall, you know, if you look at the entire tournament as a whole, they did perform the best in terms of just playing well, you know, solid Counter-Strike through and through.
Yeah, definitely. And on that second map, Inferno, they just started off with so much confidence. They won the pistol round, and they ran down middle second round. They ran down middle third round, and I think they did it again later, just to really push it in and, you know, just establish the dominance over Immortals and just make them not feel as comfortable as you'd want them.
And talking of comfortable, the show is then over. Your first 3 days on the Analyst desk, how horrible has it been?
It's been all right.
You had a good time?
I survived.
Congrats. I mean, it was fueled primarily through caffeine and a dark room with a CS screen.
Yeah.
But you had fun. How you feeling?
Definitely. I mean, you're an amazing host.
Shut up.
So you made my life super easy the first time, you know?
Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. And Halvor, I assume you hated it every moment.
And, yeah, as usual, when I get to events with you, it's pretty tough.
This is not about me. Counter-Strike.
No, it's been a really fun experience. You know, getting to see Austin for the first time, at least the convention center.
Yeah, dude, what you do? So tonight I'm gonna show you 6th Street. I'm gonna show you barbecue. Tomorrow I'll show you barbecue. and you get to see what Austin's all about.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and do that. Our evening plans are set. We hope yours are as well. But what about next week? Maybe your plans, and if you do have an opening in your calendar, the DreamHack Tour goes to tours. It is something to look forward to as well. Do be sure to check it out. I think there's 9 DreamHack Open stops this year alone. They're going around the world, and if you can make one, I highly recommend it. You've seen the amount of fun the guys have been having in the crowd. It's been wonderful. One final thank you to our sponsors. Of course, this 9-stop tour would not be possible without them, and there they are, ASTRO, Monster, Zowie, and Corsair. One final time, a thank you to you guys for joining us. We could not do it without the voices and the minds behind watching that Twitch screen. All right, we say goodbye. The DreamHack ASTRO Open champions of Austin, Texas are none other than Gambit. It's been an absolute wild ride. We hope to see you next week for tours. Good night.
Is just ripping them apart. Sneaking in, they're not paying attention right now. Come on, they're gonna reload. So smart from Blaine. He gets on the bomb, flash comes out, he's gonna slide out though. Find that fire! There he switches over to the pistol for a second, he's looking for a third and all!
Exclusive Black Equalizer brightens dark scenes without overexposing bright areas. Use the S switch to quickly access the setting and switch between save modes.
Now we've got a round for them. So 12 kills to start off combined for this round. For this round alone is more than they found than any other. It's going to be Freiburg trying desperately to get back out toward the A site. Bomb down inside of it.
Grab your gear and let's go.
With the Strafe Esports app, follow your favorite teams and players, and you'll never miss a match again. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
Oh, crap.
Counter-Strike is sharing incredible moments with us and will return to a memorable place. Get your tickets now at proleague.com/Dallas.
What if there was a DreamHack PC? What if we told you there is? This is the DreamHack PC, built with the best components on the market, optimized for a flawless esports experience. Just add games.
That's for the rooster crow for day. Got on my bed early this morning, folks now. Hey, just had left. You know I was wrong, man.
Just